I'd like to call this regular Board of Ed meeting to order at 7 o'clock. Invocation or moment of silence, Mr. Hamry.
I'd like to ask that we take a moment of silence to recognize and remember those that were killed recently in the attack in Colorado, and recognize that it is never okay to behave in a way that causes such catastrophic and long-standing loss. I pledge allegiance to the flag for the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
God bless America.
Fire evacuation announcements. There's double doors behind you, out the double doors, out to the parking lot. There's double doors to my left, your right, go down the stairs and out to the parking lot. Roll call, please.
Mr. Hamry?
Here.
Mrs. Acree?
Here.
Mr. LeBlanc?
Here.
Mrs. Pickett?
Here.
Mr. Ryder?
Here.
Mr. Ungeyer?
Here.
Dr. Kalnin?
Here.
Mrs. Cushman? Madam Chair?
Here. Item 6, board guests. Mr. Drezek.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We have a lot of special guests tonight, but unfortunately, we have a very special guest to lead us off tonight. I'm going to ask Mr. Sine, our district's social studies coordinator, to come up and make the formal introduction to the real Mr. Mayor.
We're already live. Good evening. Thank you for having us here. So I'm happy to have Tristan Corshane, who's a fifth grader at Prudence Crandall. And Tristan worked incredibly hard this year in our Kid Governor program. And he was our nominee for Enfield in the state Kid Governor program. And as the winner of our Enfield Kid Governor program, he'll go on to serve as our Enfield Kid Mayor for this year. So I want to congratulate Tristan and just give a little background. We do essentially a program that was put together by the Connecticut Democracy Center, which is a pretty comprehensive curriculum related to state government that our students start in 4th grade and carry into 5th grade. So we have dozens of students who throw their name in the hat as nominees and put together a platform. We have classroom primaries, then school-wide primaries, and then, of course, our district election. So a few years ago, we had the thought that these kids are working so hard. If by chance they don't get nominated to be the state nominee for Kid Governor, we want to honor them some way here in Enfield. And therefore, we have Tristan, who is our Kid Mayor for the year. So congratulations, Tristan. And do you have a few things to say?
Hello, my name is Tristan. I'm in 5th grade. I'm a 5th grade student at Prudence Crandall. In September, I researched racism in schools. After I decided to run for Kid Governor on the platform of ending racism, I had to develop a plan to end racism in schools. Next, I presented it to my class, and I was selected to represent Room 18 in the school debate. After presenting to all of the 5th graders, I was voted to represent Prudence Crandall in the town election with Parkman and Eli Whitney. Then I was elected for Kid Mayor of Enfield. I am excited to represent my town as Kid Mayor, and I will continue to help to end racism.
Nice job. So I have to say, it's a pretty fast turnaround from the time that we elect our nominee to getting the video together and getting it submitted to the state. So literally the day after we announced to Tristan that he was the candidate, I talked to him that day and he said, I'm ready to go. I'm ready to film my video. And the next morning, he was ready to go. He had his script written and all his scenes laid out, and he knew exactly what he wanted to see. So I think he has a future also maybe as a film producer, because that's a really quick turnaround to be ready to go like that. So we're happy to actually have Tristan's video to play for everybody tonight to see all the hard work that he did.
Hi, my name's Tristan, and I want to be your next Connecticut kid governor. I want to stop racism. Racism is a massive problem all over the world, and near and dear to my heart as I am biracial. Did you know that black kids get suspended and expelled more than the average white kid? I know it's crazy, right? People are not being accepted for who they are, just because they're Asian, Indian, Hawaiian, black, or African American. You are not superior over them, and they are not inferior over to you. Everyone should be treated the same. All humans. We are all equal. A survey shows that 89% of people have either experienced or witnessed racism. Racism most commonly happens at school or online. How many of you have been a part of racism? I have a plan to help make a change on the topic of racism. I have created 3 amazing ideas for my platform, so listen closely. First, I will create a song with important lyrics that lets others know all races matter. I will work with my music teacher, Miss Clark, to create the song so I can share it with my school, community, and the world. I hope the song will bring awareness to fairness on racism. We even created some lyrics. Check it out. We all are human. We all are equal. We all are human. So stop the shame. Next, I will create a blog called Tristan's Tips that will discuss racism issues and how to bring fairness and equality to all. I will hold interviews with professionals that can speak about racism and bring awareness to our world to help make it a better place. I want to make t-shirts in all different skin colors that says, "We are all human." Come check them out. The proceeds from the t-shirts will go towards developing an anti-racism curriculum in every school in Connecticut.
I'm so excited that Tristan is our new candidate.
He has such great leadership skills.
Tristan is optimistic because he always thinks the good and not the bad, and he is a problem solver.
Tristan is caring because he cares for everybody. Tristan is inclusive because he includes everyone everywhere he goes. He makes sure all voices are heard. If he is chosen for the next Connecticut Kid Governor, he'll include all.
Tristan is trustworthy because he will never break a promise, and you can trust him to get the job done and done well.
Vote Tristan for your next Connecticut Kid Governor.
If you choose me for your next Connecticut Kid Governor, I will help end racism by creating a song, a blog, and an anti-racism curriculum. If you want results and change about racism, then vote for me, Tristan, for
Good job, buddy. How he didn't win, I'll never know, because that was incredible. And I think we have a special guest here, Tristan, that has something for you. Mayor Crisati, would you like to?
Mayor Crisati, could you come up, please?
You're a hard act to follow, I'm telling you. I have to congratulate you. What a wonderful platform, wasn't that? Racism, and your 3 things that you wanted to do. I had the pleasure of attending when the pep rally at your school, and the day you happened to be, you're not feeling so well. But we did attend. That it was a great pep rally that they came, and they visited your school. And you know what? Your classmates really think the world of you. And I am so proud of you. It was one of the better days that I've actually had in this past year of visiting your school and all of your classmates who voted for you, and also all the other fifth graders that voted for you to represent Enfield as our kid governor and kid mayor. But I'm going to tell you, you're styling. You know, I saw you. You are sharp. I'm going to tell you right now. I have a token of appreciation here for you, and then there's a couple things that you know. I love the sport coat, but you see what I have over here? Come on over here. I'm gonna pin you. So come on up here with me. Okay. So you're gonna be my mini me. Okay. All right. How would you like to pal around with me for a few days? Would you like that? Yeah. See, the good thing about it, I think if he attends meetings with me, they'll be very calm.
He's gonna make you buy lunch, though.
Well, I'll buy lunch, I'll buy dinner for him and everything. Whatever he wants. But we're you wear this with pride, okay? And you know, this is there you go. Okay? Thank you. Yeah, you're welcome. And there's also another little gift for you. There's a couple things I want to mention. Come on over here, stand next to me. All right. Okay. There's two things. First of all, would you like to be a guest at a town council meeting to help start the meeting up? How would you like that?
Yeah.
You would, huh? Okay, good. All right, so we're going to set a date with that. It'll be sometime in December. We'll finalize that up. We'll tell Mom and Dad. But more importantly, on December 4th, you are going to be helping out. How would you like to walk with me and the members of the town council in the Torchlight Parade on December 4th, Sunday at 6 o'clock? You're going to meet me at Enfield Street School at 5:45. We're going to meet in the parking lot, and we're going to hang. We're going to walk down. It's like 1.5 miles to the town green. We're going to sing a few songs together. How would you like that? So I know you have some talent because I saw it in that video, okay? All right? Okay? So we will sing together. We'll bring in the holiday. But more importantly, you know what I have for you to do? You're going to help me with the countdown to start the holiday season in Enfield. And then you're going to flip the switch to the big tree on the green, and it will light up the start of the holiday season. How would you like that?
Good.
Would you like that?
Yeah, I
Okay.
definitely do that.
All right. Okay. Well, congratulations, and I will be seeing you very soon. All right, and I know. Chairwoman, Ms. LeBlanc wants to say a few words, but before I sign off here, I'd like to wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving, to everybody that's on the board and to the audience and everybody in Enfield, and to you and your family also. So congratulations, and here's Ms. LeBlanc.
On behalf of the Board of Education, we have this gift for you. But I would like to speak on behalf of the board that when we do have kid visitors in here, it gives us a chance to refocus and remember why we're doing this. I think I'm going to be voting for you someday. I think you're going to be the real mayor. And I would love for you to come back once your song is complete, and I would love to purchase a t-shirt. So be in touch with us. Good luck to you, and I will see you at the Torchlight Parade. Congratulations. Mr. Sine, I would be remiss if I didn't let the other board members comment or have some thoughts for Tristan. So would you and Tristan come back up again?
Not done yet.
Sorry, Tristan. Would anyone like to start or have anything to say? Ms. Pickett?
I really hope to see you around more, Tristan. Congratulations on your hard work. I'm also excited to see how your whole classroom and school and community was involved in this process. And it sounds like you're doing a great job being a leader at Prudence Crandall. So please keep it up. And I will say I'm going to keep your name professionally because I think the work that I do, your ideas and some of the pieces that you wanted to work on, I'm interested to hear more about. So I will be in touch. Keep up the great work, and I hope to see more of you.
Mr. Hamry?
So first off, once again, congratulations. Huge thing. Second, your speaking while you're in the video, I got to tell you, I've done public speaking for a long time, and one of the things I noticed was your ability to just slide the paper forward, not break eye contact with the lens, and not skip a beat. That was very nicely done, and that'll carry you through a lot of meetings with the mayor. So, and to that point, like Tina said, I'm interested in the shirt as well, and just make sure they're big enough because I need that. But more to the point, the message that you have is resounding strongly, and I appreciate and respect that you took that on and that you got where you're going, and you've got a good path ahead of you to keep pushing that message. Thank you.
Mr. Ryder?
So I have a logistical question. How was the video broadcast and shared with other schools as far as like the voting process along the way? Because I can't fathom how anyone saw that video and you weren't our kid governor.
So our process at Enfield is essentially each of our students produce a small video, which is basically just their speech, and then we share that with each of the different schools. And then once Tristan moves on to the state level, there's a pretty comprehensive, paperwork and everything else to make him our official candidate that goes with that, along with his video. And then it's actually a committee at the Connecticut Democracy Center that narrows down the final 7 candidates statewide. So that's their process at the Connecticut Democracy Center through the old State House that runs the program. So I have the same questions.
So it was narrowed down to 7 already, and we have a kid governor-elect, or
So we have a kid governor that the students voted on statewide.
Okay.
They just announced the winner actually earlier today.
Well, I'm happy
She
with
is
our
from
kid
Monroe.
mayor. So I'm happy with our kid mayor. Great job.
Ms. Acree?
Congratulations, Tristan, on your great, exciting campaign journey on being our kid mayor. I love your plans on ending racism. That's really important. Of course, my favorite part was with the song, because I'm a former music teacher, so I love that. I love also that you're interested in writing an anti-racism curriculum. Great job. I think we'll see you in Congress one day.
Mr. Ungeyer?
Tristan, just congratulations and well done. You worked hard, and it shows, and you did a great job.
And I will end with, when we're parents, I'm speaking to the parents out there, when we have kids, we think we're going to teach them so much, but it's actually us that learn so much from our kids. Your presentation brought a tear to my eye, because when we have kids come up and talk to us about what's going on in school, it really gives us a glimpse of what is happening in the schools, straight from the kids that are attending our schools. So I appreciate your hard work. I think an anti-racism pledge or curriculum, a pledge of curriculum, is a wonderful idea. And you not only had concerns about what you wanted to change as kid mayor, but you had solutions. And I thought that was wonderful. So again, congratulations. Thank you.
Madam Chair, briefly, Joe, don't go away really quick. Sorry. Tristan, you're excused. But I just wanted, he's too bashful and he would never do this. So while I have him here, I'm going to do it. The adult mayor had referenced the pep rally. That was actually the old State House, the kid governor program actually has a touring bus that goes from district to district. And it was at that point we found out who the 7 finalists were. So I apologize to the folks at the Old State House when I said that their process was rigged. That said, that she was the representative from the Democracy Senate was very nice in saying that I do have to commend Enfield that you have the best civics program in the state of Connecticut, and that's a reflection on Mr. Sine. So I wanted to make sure you got the credit, but the amount of work that goes in behind this to do that, and it produces. We get the fun part, meeting Tristan and getting to introduce Tristan, but I will tell everyone, Tristan, that when we walked in to surprise you in your classroom, you were already decked out like that. You knew you were winning. So young man has some confidence too, so congratulations, but thank you, Joel, too, for all you did for this.
Thank you. The next item on the agenda, Mr. Drezek.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Keeping with the theme of kids that are better than all of us, I want to introduce our K-12 music director, Mr. Rapucci, who's brought some very special guests with him this evening as well. I believe one of our board members made a comment about this program a few weeks ago, and at that point I had already asked Mr. Rapucci if he can come and share that and actually hear directly from our participants instead of just from you guys. So, Mr. Rapucci.
Thank you so much for having us tonight as guests. Tonight we brought the advisors for the Tri-M Music Honor Society. It started about 7 years ago when our orchestra director, Mr. Roshansky, brought this from the school that he had been at before and, presented it to me and thought, oh, this is great. I didn't even know it existed. And you're going to hear from the students in a little bit about what the program is. I know you have some information in your packet. But I discovered, after we had been running this for a bit, that Enfield had a chapter many years ago, and that for some reason it stopped, and we reinstated it. So I thought that was a pretty neat little historical fact in there. With us tonight is the band director of Enfield High School, Mrs. Ashley Schell, and orchestra director and assistant band director, Mr. Raymond Cole, and Enfield High School choral director, Amanda Urquhart-Tillman. We're going to have Amanda come up, and these are the advisors of the Tri-M Music Honor Society. They do a lot of work behind the scenes. Would you introduce the students for us and have a few words to say?
All right, it's my pleasure to introduce our student officers. You guys can come on up, and I'll talk about you for a little bit. It's my pleasure to actually serve as one of the advisors. When I was in high school in their position, I actually also was a participant of the Tri-M Music Honor Society. So as I moved to the high school, I was really thrilled to be able to serve on this. So here we have Anna Bemis, who serves as our president. We have Katie Knapp as our vice president. We have Harley Griffin over on the end as our secretary. And we have Kairos Brule and Kayla Serprenant as our co-treasurers and historians. So I'll go ahead and pass off the mic.
Hi, I'm Anna. I'm a euphonium player, and I have been a member of Tri-M for 3 years, and I'm currently president of Enfield High School's chapter. Tri-M is an enriching component of our Enfield music community. This honor society is part of the National Association for Music Education, which focuses on creating future leaders in music education and advocacy. Tri-M recognizes our students who have gone above and beyond both academically and musically. This year, Enfield High School inducted 17 new members along with our 13 existing members. To help further all of these members' leadership and music ability, Tri-M also provides leadership opportunities to make a difference in our community through music-based service projects, such as participating in various performances throughout the community. Tri-M is the only music honor society for high school students in the country, and we are very proud to represent our town and our school.
Hi, I'm Kyra, and I am in chorus, and I'm going to be explaining a little bit about what Tri-M stands for. So Tri-M stands for Modern Music Masters. So the first M is for modern. It signifies us students looking back on the past and how music has influenced people back then and to this day, and how we should study the past to plan an effective future. The second M signifies music. Music is an art that expresses emotion, and it was present even before there was written language, which shows its use as a universal language and how it brings people together.
And the third M is for masters. This signifies students who have achieved a high degree of proficiency, predominantly in music.
Hi, I'm Harley. I'm a member of both the jazz band and the concert band at EHS. And the Tri-M Music Honor Society is an important group in our community and in our school for many reasons. It recognizes students that have gone above and beyond both academically and musically. It grants those students leadership opportunities to make a difference in their community and in their classes. They do this through music-based projects and events throughout the community. It highlights our students' school music program and provides students with opportunities to perform, lead, and serve. The society consists of musicians from each ensemble of our school, which is concert band, jazz band, orchestra, and chorus. Students from these different ensembles are given the opportunity to work together and reach a unified goal. Musicians from these different ensembles normally don't get the opportunity to work with other ensembles, so that's why the Tri-M Music Honor Society is a really good thing.
Hi, I'm Katie. I'm in the concert band and the jazz band. One of Tri-M's major ideals is to serve our community through music. In Tri-M, we find it extremely important to support music in our community in any way we can. Often we will do this by helping out at concerts in our community. We have helped at concerts at JFK, Enfield High School, and the elementary schools. At these events, we help with whatever is needed, from passing out programs to setting up equipment. In March, Enfield High School hosted the CMEA middle school level regionals. Tri-M members helped set up and move equipment, direct people to the appropriate places, set up rehearsal spaces and the stage, and help with whatever else was needed to be done. We have also assisted at the Arts Festival and the Enfield Community Band concerts. Right now, we are planning to carol at the Rachel's Challenge Pancake Breakfast and are working on creating some fundraisers. Service is and always will be an important aspect of Tri-M.
And many of our members will be performing at the Arts Festival this April. So we invite you to come out to all the concerts. The calendar, there's many of them posted right on the district. Thank you so much. Thank you, students. Thank you.
Don't go anywhere. Does anyone have anything they would like to say? Mr. Ryder?
Well, I just wanted to say it's obvious from your choir teacher to those who sing, like yourself, you're not shy with the mic. You enunciate. You exude excitement. And it's so great to see. And I want to thank all of you for what you do, not only during your school hours, but out in our community and making our community a better place through music. So thank you so much.
Ms. Pickett?
I'm so impressed by the students of Enfield, so thank you so much for coming. A couple of things that I heard you say that I would love to kind of know more about and support. You mentioned music education and advocacy as being major components, and I can't agree more, the importance of arts education and how can we support that, and what are some of the needs, and what are some of your creative ideas. So I hope to hear more from you all about the work that you're doing and maybe some additional creative solutions or ideas that you have, because it's definitely an area that I think we need to explore a little deeper. So thank you so much. Keep up your great leadership work, and don't be shy about reaching out.
Ms. Acree?
I would like to congratulate Mr. Rapucci, I hope I'm saying it right, the Enfield High School Tri-M Honor Society students, to the music specialists, of course, and any other supporting staff, too, that helps out. Of course, this program is near and dear to me. After listening to you, I thought this was a great program that focuses on creating more talented and skillful musicians such as yourself. For music education, we need great music teachers in all school systems, and your music participation and leadership, it will shine. It will shine one day. Thank you so much.
Mr. Hamry?
So again, thank you for coming tonight. Appreciate that. And Mr. Rapucci, thank you for bringing them out. I did speak at the last meeting about the achievements, and I know I did not do justice to all the names, so I apologize to anyone whose name I didn't pronounce correctly. I want to commend everybody for making the achievements and getting that level of proficiency within the art, and that doesn't come easy. It takes a lot of practice, a lot of rehearsals, a lot of dedication, and probably a lot of frustration, especially in the beginning. I get that. But it comes to a point where you're like, wow, that was all worth it. And it's good to see that happening. I appreciate that, and I've seen it multiple times. As the recently appointed Board of Ed liaison to the Enfield Culture and Arts Commission, I look forward to being involved with promoting as much as possible every opportunity that you have to perform across the board, across the district, and getting that the light to shine on the efforts that you're putting forward. It's amazing. I hope that this continues beyond the Enfield High School and to the rest of your lives. And one quick note, as a guy that does sound in some situations and has done the load-ins and load-outs for things, there's no way to underestimate the value of the people that do the work behind the scenes to make the productions and the events happen. So appreciate that effort that you put forward with that as well. Thank you.
Just one thing.
Mr. Ungar?
Yeah, so just congratulations. I want to thank you for coming and here this evening. And I want to tell you that I so much appreciate the gifts and the talents that you have. And I see them as extraordinary because, all good music needs people who are good listeners, and that's what I excel at. And so we appreciate so much the gifts and talents that you have, and thank you for using them to the benefit of all.
And I'll just say, having issues with my mic this evening, I would just like to say thank you. I know that some of you have, even beyond the Tri-M, that you're in extracurricular activities, and you're balancing your studies as well. I actually purchased a T-shirt at one of the football games in September. I encourage the board members to do so. You can contact Mr. Rapucci, or I think there's a parent that's on the Enfield High page. And as of, I checked my calendar for the month of December, and on the 14th, I'll be attending the concert at Enfield High. So I can't wait. So thank you.
Thank you.
So we're going to move on to our next item for the agenda, which is going to be a presentation regarding JFK. But we also give audience members a moment that if you'd like to head out, or if you want to stay for the JFK presentation, you're more than welcome. If you have to get home to homework or anything, let us know. We won't be offended. Okay, item C, Mr. Drezek.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And apologize to Mr. Daigle. Sorry, you have to go last after our first two guests. But tonight we welcome our JFK Building Committee Chairman, Randy Daigle. As you know, he was on the agenda. Previous meeting wasn't able to make it, but it was very important that Mr. Daigle give us an update on the status of our new building at JFK. And before he gets on, I won't make him stay late to thank him. The proof is, if you walk around any of our buildings in town and you look at the plaque, there's one thing that's consistent, and there's one individual's name on it. So nothing gets done around here without the volunteerism and effort of Mr. Daigle. So while we have a microphone, I want to thank him on behalf of the district and personally for all the help you've given us over the years to get these buildings done. We would not be anywhere without you, so thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
That was my payback for making you follow Tristan in the Tri-M. So, Mr. Daigle.
Well, thank you very much. My name's Randy Daigle, and I'm fortunate enough to be chairman of the JFK Building Committee. As you guys do, I surround myself with great people that make me look good. Everybody takes their role seriously, and everybody takes their role with accountability. So I've been very fortunate enough to surround myself and have every project that we've done in the town come under budget. And this also being one of them. So when we put this project out to bid, there are several items that we put aside, just not knowing where the bids would come in when we started. We designed this building 5.5 years ago. So since then, the programs have changed. And we were fortunate enough that we were under budget enough to add most of these programs, if not all of them, back in. So I'm going to just go through some slides, show you what the what the new building looks like, and then I'm going to go through the programs that were added. And with all those, we're still under budget. So So, as you know, we've moved the main entrance. The main entrance was by the media center. We've needed to allocate some spaces in that area to justify the program. One of the things that we did do, and I still get questioned on it today, is we took out the swimming pool, as you're all aware of. The main reason why we took out the swimming pool is because it was not part of the curriculum. And in order to renovate the dehumidification system, the swimming pool, and anything associated with the swimming pool was about $2.8 to $3.1 million, 100% tax burden on the town. It was not reimbursable because it was not part of the curriculum. Also, I needed to have room to build a new cafeteria because we were taking over the existing cafeteria. And it was cheaper to build a new cafeteria inside the swimming pool area than to break new ground. That would have cost another $2.6 million. So it would have been close to $6 million that would have been 100% responsible for taxpayers. So that was an easy decision to make. It was not part of the gym. It wasn't part of the curriculum. The one at Fermi, the annex, is used for all the programs that were being used for JFK. So nothing was taken away from the town. So with that being said, the main entrance now is over by where the cafeteria used to be, which is now the guidance and other program offices. This is a circulation area to the right side of the main entrance area that will allow the small buses to go through. It also is attached to the nurses area. If there's any issues that do occur, an ambulance can just swing by there. The person can be escorted out without being dragged through the center of everybody and everybody wondering what's going on. It's more of a private area to load and unload. The north parking lot, as you can see, the entire building, the entire footprint got renovated. We changed our circulation. We changed the bus routes. Initial bus routes that we had established when we designed the building changed a little bit because we went from 27 buses to 32 buses. So we had to reroute in a different manner. In the top left, as you can see, this is between I believe it's the blue wing and the black wing, it used to be called. This is an outdoor teaching area. They actually have started using it this year. There's big stones back there where the kids can sit on so they don't have to bring chairs in and out. You can hold up to 2 classrooms out there, and they did actually use it many times this year. And on the right is outdoor seating in the cafeteria area. If they have events, they can bring tables out there and have stuffs back there. It's all in secured, fenced area. One of the things that, as a town and as you guys know better than anybody else, is this is a stepping stone to the high school. So the JFK, this new design is allowing kids more freedom. But with freedom comes responsibility, and responsibility comes repercussions. So we're giving them a lot more freedom in this floor plan than they've ever had in the past. This is the main area in file storage, what they never had before in the main office area. This is called a special education classroom. One of the things that you're going to notice is we don't have the standard chairs and tables attached. What the new program and the new philosophy of education is basically you have the alternative to cluster 4 or 5 kids, work with them separately, have another 4 or 5, or bring them all together and do a classroom. So you're going to see a lot of classrooms with these type of tables in them that allow the teacher more flexibility in teaching the classes. This is what's called STEM or STEAM classrooms. These are amazing, amazing classrooms. One of the things that you're going to notice on the left-hand side of the top left one is there's a lot of glass in here, which allows the people that are walking around the hub area to be able to see inside and go, wow, that's pretty cool. Maybe that's something I'd be interested in. They're not behind bricks and block walls anymore. We have seating that goes inside the hub area. We have little chairs that go out there. We have cushion chairs out there where you could have 5 or 6 kids out there doing something. Again, you have freedom, responsibility, repercussion. So they're allowing the kids to go out there and do a part of the program during that class in a more of a comfortable environment. This is the beginning of Red Wing. As you can see, the ceiling is a lot different than the hub area that it used to be. The hub is still there, but it's not a circle anymore. It's kind of a zigzag. One of the things you're going to notice throughout the building is the flooring system. We're not using VCT, vinyl tile. It is a composite rubber flooring. You can't hear when kids are walking up and down the class corridors. You can't hear the kids in the hub. It's so soothing to the ear where you're not listening to all this traffic going in and out. When you're trying to teach a class, you can have your door open because you're not hearing one person all the way into the hall walking because they have heels on. It's a new system. We have new equipment for the janitors to maintain them. We've had training programs with them. We've used these at the state level at most of our Central, Eastern, Southern, all our other colleges and trade schools. Started using these. The custodians love them because you don't have to strip the floor. And takes 3 weeks to put between each layer. These things you dry mop with a microfilm pad, and you're pretty much done. And on anything that's being installed, you have a 25-year warranty on most of these products. This is a typical classroom. Again, you're going to see these chairs and tables where you can conform into standard classroom arrangement or like these little pods. As you can see, every classroom has a state-of-art technology. There's big screens TV that is assigned to an Apple program that every teacher has. There's whiteboards that are also, some of them are also smart boards. So the teacher, and we also have, as you can see inside the ceiling tiles in the classroom, we have speaker systems where the teacher has headphones. We have an audio system in every single classroom because when COVID was running rampant, everybody had masks on. When the teacher was trying to talk, it was very hard for kids to hear what she's saying without him and her screaming. So every teacher, every classroom has a audio system where they could attach a microphone to themselves, an ear type or a head type, and talk, and the sound comes throughout the classroom. So this is the science room. As you can see, they have acid-resistant tables. These chairs are a little higher than normal tables because if you have to stand, you can stand and do your projects opposed to just sitting down. One of the things, too, I'd like to mention is that this school is 100% air-conditioned. The windows are not operable, so we have a better way of controlling the temperature in the classrooms. If the windows were operable, not only was it a security risk, but it fluctuates the classroom's temperature, hot or cold. World language classrooms. So one of the things I mentioned earlier is we designed this school 5.5 years ago. At that time, we only needed 5 world language programs. Now we need 8. So we've been doing some modifications, thank God. Like I said, we have extra funds to do so. We've added some SOAR program classrooms. We've added some additional reading classrooms, and we've added some world language classrooms, all within the confinement of our existing footprint that we designed. And one of the things that we do at the state level is anytime we do any kind of renovations or modifications, we have to verify with the state to make sure it's reimbursable, 71.5% reimbursable. So every dollar we spend, it only costs us 30 cents. This is a reading classroom. We are adding additional reading classrooms now. We had 4 of these, and now we're going to be making 6 of them. One of the main reason why these rooms are smaller than a typical classroom is just because you're reading, and these kids need to concentrate on what they're doing. They don't need 25 kids in a classroom all talking. So this one here, you can have 8 to 10 kids all concentrate in quiet, smaller type room. And one of the things I want to make sure you guys understand is that we didn't design this just because this is what we do and we know we're experts at it all. We're not. We talk to every end user. We talk to the superintendent, assistant superintendent, the principal, the district heads, the departments, the liaisons, the Board of Eds, parents, teachers. We talk to the end users. It's really easy to draw a pretty picture on a piece of paper, but if it's not functional, we didn't do our job. So everything that you see wasn't all our idea. We were told exactly what we needed at the time, and we decided we made it fit inside this footprint. So when you're going around this hub area now, this is the ceiling up there, and you have your rubber flooring, so it's unbelievably quiet. The signage, as you can see, up to date, 21st century state-of-the-art signage. You can really see where you're going. The floors, everything is brand new. There's nothing that is existing inside this entire building. And this is the area inside going towards the cafeteria and going towards the gymnasium. One of the things that we did, and it was specifically for security reason, as you all know, back in the day, at the JFK, you had this giant hub. It was a big spoke. And if they had a basketball game, the janitors had to spend about 2 hours going around every floor and every classroom, made sure no little smart aleck kid is hiding in there before they locked down the building. Now, you could have an event, you could come into the auditorium cafeteria area, and that's as far as you're going. The rest of the school is locked down. So all they have to do is make sure nobody's in a cafeteria, an auditorium, or the gymnasium, and that's it. One of the things we did is, you know, we want to make this a building of the future. We have one shot to do this, and hopefully we did it right. But we wanted to make it cool. We wanted the kids to have fun going into school. We wanted them to be excited to go, wow, this is neat. I know when we played sports and we went to other schools and we got off the bus and we were so intimidated by some of these new schools. We're like, oh, crap, we're going to get our butt kicked just by getting off the bus. And then we come back to our old school. Well, now when they come in here, they walk in here to our gymnasium, they go, oh, boy, we're in trouble. So we have the glass garage doors that line the whole side of the cafeteria. It makes it pretty cool, but we do have regular doors. They're safety proof, they're fire resistant, they're ADA compliant. This is one area. This is an auxiliary area for the cafeteria. If some of the teachers want to pull their kids during lunch, they can sit in this area. If the teachers want to sit in this area, it's a private area. You have monitors throughout the cafeteria. You have what's going on. You have your programming. You have your schedules. So this is the cafeteria. As you can see, there's what's called an operable wall. On the right-hand side, you can see there's several of them. One of the reasons why we did this is so each of the grade structures can have their own area. They're not commingling, they're not getting into trouble, they're not getting teased or picked on. Each grade has their separate area, but as you can see on the left, the main core to the left is the servant area, so they could go in, they could walk either way, and then go to their area to have lunch. If there's an event going on, you close these doors, and the place is wide open. So, as you also know, back in the day, if you had the fourth or fifth lunch wing, you were eating lunch about 20 minutes before you're getting out of school. And your first wing, you ate lunch about an hour after you got to school. So now we were able to do it to 3 wings, and so everybody has lunch around lunchtime. And again, this is the left side. As you can see on the right, the garage doors are open, and they conceal inside the ceiling, so you don't see them underneath the ceiling. This is our gymnasium. Since we got this picture taken, on the right-hand side, we added some additional bleachers. Again, I'm going to go through a list of stuff that we were able to add back into the project, but we not only have bleachers on the left-hand side, we now have bleachers on the right-hand side. And you can see everything's brand new flooring, brand new striping. We have a portable partition that cuts across. You could separate the gymnasium. You have side courts, you have main courts, you have volleyball, striping. And like I said, on the left-hand side, this is still the gymnasium. This is one of those portable partitions. They have a program called Adventure Program where they do, they climb on walls, they do rope skills. and that's a separate program that the state provides equipment for. So to separate that program with the rest of the gymnasium, we have an operable wall. And this is, like I said, this is a health classroom, but you can put it to a standard classroom arrangement if you want to, or they can break them off as little pods. Again, you can see the data, the monitors on the left, the whiteboards on the left, all the cabinets to the right. We still have the glass above the walls and the lockers in the hallway. Initially, we, per code, had to seal all those up. But we found a loophole in the code that allowed us to shrink those. Instead of being from classroom wall to classroom wall, if we shrank them 7.5 or 8 feet, we met the code allowance for operable glass, or non-operable glass, in classrooms. So you still have the light that's coming in. The teachers can display stuff in the hallway from their classrooms. This is what I was telling you about the auditorium entrance. It's in the back. We have ample amount of parking for anything that goes on in the new auditorium. We have brand new ball fields. We have soccer fields. We have lacrosse fields. We have baseball fields. And we have a basketball court. We have ample amount of parking down there. The entire fields now are ADA and handicap accessible. So this is the lobby area. What you can't see to the right is the concession ticket booth area, and the entrance to the right would be the auditorium. But this is the lobby. It's a huge lobby. If it's raining or whatever, you can fit 200 people in there waiting to go in. The new auditorium can sit 620 people. Our existing auditorium, the egress capacity was 320. But unfortunately, we only had 111 operable seats. So, as you know, some of the seats were taken off and chairs were put in there. So we had 111, and I remember that I could have 111, but we only had 111 operable seats in our old auditorium. So this is not exactly what it looks like. It's a wide angle. It really just goes straight, but you kind of get an idea. We wanted to give you the whole circumference of the auditorium. One of the things that we started doing at the state level, we had a theatrical consultant from New York City, and one of the things that they're doing a lot at the state level, at the universities levels, instead of having the stage 4 or 5 feet high, and then you have the first 50 to 60 rows only being able to see who's front, we brought the stage down. So everybody's either at eye level or up above eye level. So now you can see the people in the back. This is looking at from the stage. From the stage, you can literally see everybody. This is from the corner, and this is what it looks like. It's pretty much straight. You have little dog legs on each, or wings on each side. So like I said, we have brand new fields. After this picture was taken, one of the things that we were able to provide were lighting. So now we have lights for the basketball courts down there. We have bleachers for the basketball courts, and we have bench seats for the basketball courts. And this is the field at the beginning of the season. One of the things, too, we were able to do is we were able to irrigate the entire field. All the sporting fields are irrigated. Not the areas by the school, not the areas outside where the kids play, but the areas where the kids play. After a game, if that gets damaged, they put the sprinkler system on and rejuvenates. They're not one season, the grass is dead, and then next season you're playing in sand. Another thing, lesson learned from other schools. But as you can see, there's paths everywhere. We have 5 to 10 foot wide paths everywhere. We have a 10-foot path that's covered with bituminous blacktop that can go completely to any one of these fields if an ambulance ever has to get called down there. All the other areas to each of these fields are 5 feet wide for pedestrian, wheelchair, walkers, whatever it may be. Again, just another area of the fields, another picture of the fields. All right, I'm thinking that's end. It's not going anywhere. So that's it. So one of the things, like I said, I wanted to tell you that we were fortunate enough to add just a few things back in. Lessons learned when we had our first performance in the auditorium. In an auditorium, it went phenomenal. They were so appreciated. I had to draw feedback out of them because what they had and what they have, they were just like, we'll take it. It's absolutely beautiful. We love it. Well, we ended up adding 10 more lapel mics. We only had 6. We didn't realize, that they wanted more or needed more. So they didn't have to transfer them when they were backstage. So now we got additional lapel mics. We have an advanced soundboard. The one that we have was designed for a junior high level. We now have one that's equivalent to the high school level, and you all know the high school auditorium is unbelievable. So now we have equivalent of the same soundboard. You would like that?
I'm waiting.
Stage speakers. Never been on stage performing. I do lectures. But we have stage speakers that feed back to the people that are on stage so they can hear what they're saying and what it's supposed to go on. Stage curtain, the way we had it designed, looks great on paper, but when they're changing scenes, it was more in the way. So we redesigned the stage and modified the curtain system. Like I said, we added bleachers in the ball fields. The bleachers that we initially had, the town has portable ones, and the plan was that they were going to bring them over and leave them unless they need them for something, then they come back. Well, we all know how that goes. Once they leave, they don't come back. So we ended up buying new bleachers. They're going to be bolted down on a concrete pad. So it's ours. What's ours is ours. Lights at the basketball courts and benches. We irrigated the fields, like I just mentioned. We just installed this week a new JFK street sign. We are working on lighting the board, but it's a digital sign. We were able to get that through planning and zoning, so now the principal and whoever's in charge of the digital part of it can say, report cards coming out next week. We have a show, PTO meeting, whatever. But when people drive by, they know what's happening. We upgraded the internet. We put close to $600,000 addition into the internet. It's 100% Wi-Fi around the entire building. We have fast internet. We upgraded security systems. There's over 420 security cameras throughout the building now. And we also upgraded and added monitors inside the security room. So now they have 6 monitors that they can monitor every one of these cameras inside one room area. One of the things we are adding now is we're putting a film on the glass that allows you to see an image but not be able to see the glass, not be able to see the monitors from the lobby area. Again, we added SOAR classrooms and early education development classrooms. We added the bleachers in the gym. We bought 6 new bike racks. We were blown away when the beginning of school how many bikes were there. We're like, oh crap, man, this is awesome. So we bought 6 bike racks that could hold, I think it's 60 bikes. We were able to buy new custodial equipment. For the custodians can now clean the floor with the brand new equipment. They're not trying to make what they have retrofit work. The equipment stays there. We have equipment for each area, so they're not dragging it from one wing to another wing to the cafeteria. So what they're looking for it at night, they're not spending an hour trying to find it. We're adding fencing around the ball fields and a warning track around the baseball field. We added, speaking of band, we added more keyboards and band stations. That band program is taken off, which is phenomenal. We are in the process of going through planning and zoning in the state. So now that the fact that the fields are 100% ADA accessible and seniors and able-bodied and unable bodies can go down there and view and watch the games. Initially during the pre-ref, as Scott can remember because he was involved in it from the conception, we had a concession stand and bathrooms down there. It was a big ticket item, so that was one of the first things that got taken out early. we are fortunate enough to have the funds to put it back. So we're going to have a concession stand, we're going to have boys and girls bathroom, and we're going to have a small storage area. We have 3 storage containers throughout the property so we can house our field equipment, athletic equipment that stays down in the field, stays down in the field. We have storage containers up at the top that we bought specific equipment for snow removal and lawn care that stays here. We're not looking DPW pulling something from another school and not having it. The snow equipment is for JFK. We refenced the entire property. The fence that goes around the perimeter was in dire strait. Trees fell on them. There were openings in them. Some of the neighbors on the left had to repair their own fence because it was there since the 60s. We were able to put brand new fencing all around the place. We were able to, one of the things that we were fortunate enough to do, the media center was, when we started this, was 19 years old, which it didn't fall into the reimbursable grant from the state. Had to be 20 years old. So anything that we did at the media center was not reimbursable. Once we just determined we didn't want to buy or rent portable classrooms, because we all know how that happens. You rent them, you live with them. We had a portable classrooms for 17 or 21 years, actually. So we convinced the state that we were going to use the media center as swing space. We were able to put 6 classrooms in there, and we renovated the cafeteria and had another 6 classrooms. So we were able to take one whole wing, renovate it, move the kids into that one, start another wing, and then start another wing. So after the state allowed us to use that as a swing space area, we approached the state and said, well, now we've got to bring it back to renovate as new condition, so therefore it should fall into the reimbursable thing. And they're like, oh, you son of a gun, you. So we were able to get 100% reimbursable on renovating the entire media center, which meant, as you guys know, we had granite coping at the exterior of the building. Those were spalling. We had marks, we had acid, we had white marks coming down the face of the building. We replaced all those. Now that matches the rest of the new building. We were able to repoint the entire exterior of not only the media center, but the entire JFK school we repointed. The caulking at the joints at the sills, an expansion joints throughout the entire school and the media center, we were able to recaulk, all under reimbursement. In the new media center, we added new data poles, new power poles. Let's see. Oh, there we go. So that's pretty much. There's another 20 items that we added, but the point that I'm trying to get across is we were able to really control the cost of this project and manage the project to the point that we had several $1 million in contingency left over. And we've spent about half of it. So when this project's said and done, we're going to come back with almost $2 million under budget. So one of the things that I did talk to you about was when it was designed 5.5 years ago, programs have changed. We are trying to accommodate as much as we could the new programs, the enrollments are going up, the classroom requirements are going up. So right now we're in a phase where everything's new, everybody's using it. Some things we're finding issues with, some things we're not. Gilbane and CSG are not leaving. If there's issues that go on, we have some water leaks that we're still fighting with the rooftop units. There are other little minor issues that we're continuously working on, but anything that comes to our attention, we're resolving it. The principal, Andrew, is amazing. Working with the superintendent, assistant superintendent, if I've ever had any issues, I'd call, and they literally would have it before the end of the day resolved. Like I said, I surround myself with amazing people that make me look good. So one of the things I do want to announce, we initially were going to have a ribbon cutting and public walkthrough December 1st. There was a conflict of so many people that we just decided to wait till after the holidays. So come January, we're going to do a ribbon cutting, and we're also, after the ceremony, it's going to be a public walkthrough to allow the public to come in and see what their taxpayer monies are paying for. So with that being said, I'm open for questions if anybody has any questions. Or
Mr. Hamry?
So first off, Randy, thank you. This is amazing. I've been to the school on several occasions for Invention Convention, for PTO meetings, for Moana Junior, and everything that I've seen in the building. Even Dr. Berrios took me for a tour during the construction process to see what's happening while it was happening, and to demonstrate the level of attention that was given to the fact that there are students in the building while construction is happening. So that level of detail and the thought that went into that process, greatly appreciated. So a couple of things I wanted to just ask about, or point out rather. The auditorium, you mentioned the fields are ADA compliant. The auditorium is also ADA compliant. We had an event there where one of the students needed that ADA compliance. It was there. It was amazing. And to have that level of, again, detail brought in to keep that inclusivity there, it was amazing to see that, and I appreciate that. One question about the field. You mentioned the irrigation, but is there a drainage process for the fields?
Yep. What occurred early on in the season is that the DEP, the state, requires us to put what's called silk mesh in our drains while the grass is growing, because all these drains go into the Scantic. So we can't have sediment and dirt going down and into the river. So we have to have silk fences. So it really slows the process of the drains go down. So we had a couple of storms where it looked like fishing ponds down there. It took 3 days opposed to 5 hours for it to drain. So I got calls on that. A lot of people got calls on it, but that was the reason. Since then, we've removed the silt fence. We had the landscape architect and the state come out, review. There's enough growth of the grass that they don't feel it's going to be going down the drains. So same with the parking lot. Early on this summer, or when school opened up, there was 4 drains that we reseeded next to, and we were not allowed to take the silk out. And then the parking lot looked like a pool until the day, half of the day, if not half the weekend. We've since been able to convince the state the grass is growing enough to not allow, to allow us to remove the silt. It's just like a black mesh cloth, and it just slowly allows the water, but it contains the contaminants. And then every so often they have to pull that out and put a new one in because it's just packed with dirt. But those are all DEP driven.
That's wonderful, because it's I've been into athletic fields in other towns where rained 3 days ago. We go there for a baseball game and it's still inundated. So I appreciate that level of detail. You mentioned the tree lines along the fence, and I'd like to ask you: have the trees been cut back so they're not likely to fall on the fence again, or is that still an issue that would perhaps be something we have to face in the future?
No, we augured the entire fence area. So we have in order for them to use the equipment to install the fence, we took care of a lot of the trees that were on the adjacent sides, because we had a 10-foot buffer. So we had the right to remove some trees that would overgrow. And in the back, where you could even see the fence, the brush was probably about 4 feet on the fence side, and that's all grown. So we got some more footage back there.
Beautiful.
But yeah, they trimmed all the trees and actually removed a lot of the brush on both sides now.
Excellent. I appreciate that. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Mr. LeBlanc?
Thanks for the presentation. There's a lot that I want to say about this, and it's all good stuff. I remember in the early days of us walking through and it being a shell, and now seeing these pictures and the update of what you presented. It's all fantastic stuff. Even seeing it in use now. You drive by there on a tonight, a Tuesday, a Wednesday. The youth basketball in town is using the court now. The outdoor basketball court, I drove by one night with the addition of the lights. There was kids playing there, so it's great to see everything finally, it's one of those, you can always envision it, but it's not until it's actually put to use where you're like, wow, this is all paid off, and it has. And I like how you brought up also the bike racks. If you go by JFK and any time around 240, you realize how many bikers and walkers there really are.
Right.
I'm sure Dunkin' Donuts would probably want to steal a bike rack from you. It seems to be the middle school hangout. But no, really good stuff. As far as the fields, we're looking at the spring where teams can use them.
Yeah. So what happened is the town wanted to use them for the fall sports. So we agreed on certain areas of town to take over, but the landscape architect said either they take them or they don't take them. Like, I can't have a warranty on this and not there. So the town agreed on it. Well, unfortunately, the town didn't come through maintaining them. So within like a month and a half, if you drove by JFK, the front looked like weeds. It was sad. So were the fields. So we ended up taking them over. But in order to fix the weed problem that we had to reseed. In order to reseed, you can't use the fields. So my opinion, and it was my opinion, and I spoke with the superintendent and the principal, and I said, this is not going to be an easy decision, but it's going to be the right decision because it's the only way to turn over the fields 100%, and now it's yours to the town. So we made a decision that we're closing the fields down. We're going to have to move stuff around. It wasn't an easy decision. It wasn't nobody backed us. I mean, we wasn't a happy decision. But in order to do the fields right and reseed them, we had to slice seed them, and we also have one more seeding in the spring, early spring. But that will be a minor one. The landscape architect says that we'll have sufficient amount of growth that shouldn't inhibit from turning over the fields to this town. So that's what we did. So we locked the fields down and we reseeded. We had some runoff. We had some correction areas. When we put the lights in the field, we had trenches. So we were able to, and now that we're hopefully going to be building the concession stand out there, we'll have to reseed some of those areas. So that'll give us time throughout this year and next year to do it. But what occurred is that we took the fields over for that reason.
Yeah, I'm always big on, when you have the capabilities to have your athletic sporting events at your school, it helps the school community and the students to go support those extracurricular sports and whatnot. It's a huge bonus to have. So I look forward to those fields being used by those JFK teams. But nonetheless, I like too how you brought forward, as you guys, even after it's 99% complete, you still found, there may be a thing that we need to adjust here or there. And you guys have, it wasn't like, okay, the project's done now, clean our hands and it's done. You guys have went back and you reevaluated, see where things needed adjustments. And I can't speak enough of how happy I am to see the progress of that school and how far it's come, and it's going to serve for generations. So thank you.
Thank you very much.
Dr. Kelman?
I think I want to go back to junior high. But just a real quick technical question. Does the science room, that you showed us a slide of the science room, does that double as a classroom and a lab, or it does?
Yeah, there's a teaching area and then there's a lab area.
Okay.
And they have hoods, they have the sinks, they have their burners, and they don't have burners because we're not using burners in the curriculum, but they have the test tube areas and all that. But yeah, there are lab areas and then the teaching areas.
Okay, so the teaching area is sort of in a separate area, but it's still all part of the same. Okay, thank you.
Same classroom.
Great.
Oh, Mr. Ongar, did you want to go? Oh, okay. Oh, I didn't know if you raised your hand. Oh, okay.
Hello, Randy. Thank you for a very good presentation, very comprehensive. I had a couple of questions, and as you progressed in the presentation, it answered those questions. So you covered many things. just want to commend you for the challenges associated with a project like this. I have an understanding of, all of those challenges with regard to labor and to material and to schedule and how you manage that and work through all of that, and yet, produced under budget. So that's fantastic. I think that all the planning that you did really pays off in a project like this, and it appears that everything was thought through very, very well. We now in town have really two beautiful facilities that we are very proud of, JFK and our middle school and our high school. Yep. And you and your team were obviously a huge part of that. So, some people talk the talk, but they don't walk the walk, and you walked the walk. So thank you and well done.
Thank you very much, John.
Mr. Ryder?
So I just wanted to say thank you again. So as the parent of a student that started sixth grade the summer after you broke ground and lived through sixth, seventh, and eighth grade, and she's now a freshman at the high school, I can attest that to your point earlier about the construction, that the students were always safe. The students actually enjoyed seeing things grow around them. There was, growing pains with any project where you might have been in a swing space more than you were used to. But the fact that we were able to do that and pull off that choreography over the last 3 years is fantastic. And thank you for your help with that.
Thank you very much, Scott.
And now
Thanks.
every incoming sixth grader that started August 30th, going forward, has a brand new, beautiful middle school. So thank you.
And thank you. I mean, Scott, you've been, like I said, you were part from the conception of this, so you've been involved in this from the beginning. So we're gonna thank you too.
No, I was happy to help, and I was glad that we have this done for our kids.
Absolutely.
Okay. Oh, Mr. Hamry?
I just wanted to throw in one thing. I thought about it after I stopped talking. There's never enough headsets for the theater. If the budget were to be including like 4 dozen headsets, that would be great, and I'd be happy to train them on how to use them. So,
all right, we'll see what we can do.
Again, thank you, Randy. I just have a couple of questions, I guess comments really. When we how many students was that actually built for? And reimbursable by?
1,240, I believe it is, 1,260 or something like that.
Yeah, because I know they take a certain percentage of the time, and I think, we're seeing, more kids stay in Enfield. They're not going to magnet schools. Especially, we would see a lot of kids go to magnet school for the middle school years, but I don't know that that's happening.
We came across that after high school, as
Right.
you know. We got 30 at the high school. I believe it was the first year we've got 38% returning from magnet schools to come back to our public schools. And the thing with magnet schools is, as taxpayers, you pay for the kids to stay here, but you also have to pay for them now to go.
That's right.
So by bringing them back, we're saving thousands of dollars. So and now I don't know what the numbers are for here as far as the magnet schools, but I'm sure they're
a lot better than they used to be.
There you go.
For sure. I remember taking a walk one of the first times. I don't know if Mr. Cree was there. I know Mr. Ungary and Mr. Ryder were there. And I remember standing in what seemed to be the cafeteria, and you said, you're actually standing on the pool. And I was like, wow, that's really, because you can't really envision it when you're there. But then when you go in and you see it, the pool wasn't fitting into that model. And I know there was a lot of problems. So there was going to be a lot of fixing that we were going to have to do. So, I understand why you did that. Also, the furniture just seems so much more functional in the classrooms and in the cafeteria. The teachers can group them. They can have them individually. It's not horrible to reconfigure or ad hocly say, like, let's get together in groups. I do have. I wanted to say one thing to you. I said this to you earlier, but I want to, say it. On Election Day, I was at JFK, and so the buzz of the residents were very excited to go into JFK and see, the new JFK. And one of the things that a lot of people were saying was like, this doesn't even look like JFK anymore. You don't even feel like you're in JFK anymore, which I thought would never happen because we had the hub, and I am so glad that this referendum went through, because I know, like, when the kids, when you probably went for the walkthrough to see what the school condition was like, and those classrooms in the Black Wing, how narrow they were, and then those classrooms in the hub, and there were no windows, and it was just such a dark little room. It was almost like being in a closet.
it was.
So it's amazing to see what we could do. And it sounds like, because 5 years is a long time in education with adaptability. And it sounds like you guys adapted as well as you could and as quick as you could. As far as kinks, I think that's going to just be worked out. We have a whole year, we have a winter coming. There's going to be a lot of stuff we have to work out that we all understand. Those kinds of things come up in a new project. But I thank you so much for your dedication to these building projects too, because this isn't easy. It's volunteer. I know you get calls. You're dealing with the state. You're dealing with a lot of moving parts to keep that engine running. So I thank you very much for your hard work. I can't wait for the dedication. A lot of people, that was the other thing at JFK. People were saying, when can we walk through? And I was like, I think it's December 1st, but there are a lot of people that want to walk through. And I'll tell you a fun fact. A group of men who graduated from Enfield High, I can't remember the year they graduated, they arranged with Aaron to go back through Enfield High and on a Saturday. Because they I think they were all in town, or they were all getting together. And so they hadn't been back to the new school. So I think they wanted to go in and kind of see what was familiar to them, but they really wanted to kind of honor the old Enfield High, and I thought that was amazing.
That's pretty
So it'll be interesting to see if people want to do that for JFK. So, because I was the only one in my family that went to JFK. Everybody else went to Big K, so.
That's right, too.
Yeah.
Kosciuszko.
So, but no, again, thank you, and I appreciate all your hard work, and thank you again.
Thank you guys very much for all your support. And I wish everybody a great Thanksgiving if I don't see you all personally. So
To you as well.
Thank you again.
Thank you. Okay, moving on to item 7, superintendent's report.
So they're going to start with the student representative update. She's going to kill it.
Hi. So yesterday and today, Enfield High hosted a volleyball tournament to help improve our school's climate. Students were allowed to sign up with a team and compete against their peers. It was a huge success with a total of 16 teams that ended up competing. And we want to say thank you to our physical education department for running the event. It was a lot of fun. Enfield High's drama club, the Lamplighters, had 3 great performances on Friday and Saturday. Tomorrow at Enfield High, we are holding our first career day. We will be having over 100 guest speakers from different careers in the school in order to educate students on all the possibilities there are after high school. The National Honor Society is holding a can and bottle drive on Saturday, November 26th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. You can drop off your donations at the high school's main entrance. On December 2nd and 3rd, the Model UN will be competing at the Hartford Conference. These students will be discussing foreign policy and issues with other schools to simulate the United Nations. Tomorrow night, Enfield High's football team will have their senior night against South Windsor High School. Kickoff will be at 6 on the Enfield High turf. The Enfield High Community Action Learning class is running a hot chocolate stand during the game to help keep us warm. And the Friends of Rachel Club will be hosting the annual pancake breakfast on Sunday, December 18th from 8 a.m. to 10:30 a.m. This event will take place in the Enfield High cafeteria, and entry is free. All is welcome. We will have pancakes, raffle baskets, arts and crafts, live music, and a visit from Santa. All money from the raffle baskets will be donated to Enfield Loaves and Fishes and the Little Sisters of the Poor. A sign-up genius and flyer will be posted on the Enfield Forum early next week, and any donations will be appreciated to help us put on this awesome event to spread holiday cheer.
Thank you, Kayla.
Thank you, Kayla.
Item B.
Item B, Thanksgiving break. As all you know by now, tomorrow is an early release day on Wednesday the 23rd, and then on Thursday 24th and Friday the 25th, all schools and offices will be closed for Thanksgiving break. Wish everyone a happy holiday. And also a reminder that students will be dismissed early with lunch on December 7th for a staff professional development day. As the other mayor mentioned earlier in his comments, that the Torchlight Parade and Carol Sing on Sunday, December 4th, starting at 6 p.m. from the Enfield Street Elementary School. There's information on that in your packet. And very quickly, earlier this evening, I had the privilege of speaking to the Enfield High School football team in preparation for their game tomorrow against South Windsor, which I will leave with just a stark reminder to our players that I'm not giving the trophy back. So good luck to the Enfield High football team tomorrow, taking on South Windsor. An update from continuing with our free district-wide free lunch initiative. I found out earlier this evening from Ms. Edwards that we are able to continue free lunch for all students throughout the month of December. Sorry to keep doing this month by month, but it's based on participation and funding from SMART grant that comes from the state of Connecticut. As it looks right now, we're fine to go continue the program through the month of December with the hopes of continuing it as long as possible. But it's also based on participation. So if your participation numbers increase, then obviously the funding decreases. So right now we're hopeful to go beyond December, but for the purposes of this evening, I can confirm that through the month of December, all students will be eligible for free lunch. And the last thing I wanted to just mention briefly is to thank the residents and parents of the community. At our last meeting, I announced, and shortly after, I put out an application for a superintendent's advisory council. And to be quite honest, I was hopeful that if I got about 20 people, that would be a good representation of parents in town. And to date, I have about 150 applicants, which left me in a bit of a conundrum. I didn't want to pick. Now, obviously, you guys have been in this line of work long enough to know that if you get a group larger than 20, sometimes it's hard to actually accomplish and give everyone an opportunity to hear their input. But at the same time, I didn't want to cut 130 parents who want to be engaged in their students, in their child's lives. So we had to make some adjustments as to what the original vision of this opportunity was, so that we can include everyone that was interested in doing that. So what I envisioned as being an initial kickoff meeting with the original 20 that I anticipated is now going to be spread out throughout a series of meetings. That's why, for those of you who are watching or emailing me saying what's going on with your committee, I haven't sent anything out yet because the applications keep coming in. I am going to close it off at the end of this week, but we're hopeful that we can set up a series of conversations with anyone who's interested. And then from there, as I stated earlier, that we would build upon that conversation with more topical discussions. And at that point, I would imagine that maybe some of the parents may not want to attend every session to keep it more of a smaller, intimate group. So that information will be coming. You'll get an invitation. One of the things on the application was your contact information, including your email address, the schools that your children attend. And one of the things I was most pleased with was just a simple question of, why are you interested in this? And the topics that parents, 150 people responded to me, were all over the map. There were some consistencies with some of the parents that were interested in certain things. School lunch was one of them. But there were some really interesting comments made about topics that parents wanted to know more about and parents wanted to have a discussion about. And the decision that I needed to make was, do I want to tell 130 parents, sorry, thanks for volunteering, but no, or to come up with a better way? Sort of like Randy said, the world changed a little bit, so we need to be adaptive to that. So that's the delay and why you didn't get an invitation or see a meeting posted, because I have to figure out how to delegate the groups into smaller discussions so everyone is heard. And the other thing I will warn some of the members, people who are wanting to pay attention, one of the reasons I asked where your kids, what schools your kids attended, was because I don't want to turn this into a middle school dance where everyone's on one side with their friends. Part of this is not just for me to hear, but you also to hear perspective from other parents in town who may not be at the level that you're at. So we will be selective on how we send out the invitation so that there's an equal representation of all families at each of the sessions that we have. Right now, we're hoping to limit it to 4, but again, that's there's still about 150 people in there. There'll be a reminder like speak now if you don't want to come, so we can give your spot away. So that will be coming, and that will be forthcoming in the next few weeks. Obviously, with the holiday, it's a challenge. But that I wanted to make sure that the community knew that I didn't forget you and just put out an invitation. But the response was overwhelming, and I'm actually very pleased about that. So thank you. And that will conclude the superintendent's report.
Thank you, Mr. Drezek. Item 8, audiences. Okay, I'll begin the audiences with 4 minutes this evening. We don't have that many speakers. As I always say, you must be an Enfield resident to participate in the audience portion. We ask that you state your name and address. Board members cannot respond back to you during this portion of the meeting, but they can respond back to you during their board member comments if they choose to do so. We also can't respond to student or personnel matters, and we strongly ask that you refrain from personalities. And we also ask that everybody be aware when other people are talking. Can you please just allow them their time at the microphone and remain quiet during the audience members? And I will. Sandy Hayward.
It's on now? Okay. Hi, everybody. Sandy Hayward, 22 Charlie Road. I wanted to talk about the last Board of Ed meeting. I left there really upset because there was some conversation about a list of banned books. So the first thing I want to say is that there was no list of banned books. If there is one, please let me know so I'm not giving false information. The impression I got, and I asked the person who they said did the banned books, and what she wrote was she said that the idea of these books was to establish clear guidelines in our school district so that books with obscene and pornographic content do not end up on the bookshelves of our school and classroom or libraries. And I think everybody can agree with that. You know, pornography and obscenity doesn't belong with minors. We're talking about minors here. We're not talking about anybody else in the world. I couldn't care less what anybody else does. So there was a book that was brought there. So what I did is I looked up that book. The Bible was read, and then this book was, I believe it was read, it was talked about. So I went to a site called ratedbooks.org. And this is an organization that rates books and gives reasons and examples for the ratings. Because I wanted to make sure, I don't want to judge anything, and I certainly don't believe in banning books by any stretch of the imagination. But this book, the book that was brought to the last meeting, did get a 4. And a 4 is that it is not suitable for minors. And again, we're talking about minors here. We're talking about children. And the reason they gave a whole lot of passages that were very sexually explicit. That when I raised my kids, I would be darned if I want them reading that. I remember my son getting a hold of some stuff, and we had a really long conversation about the inappropriateness and the sexuality of women and just all of that stuff, So we don't want this happening. I don't know when society started thinking this was okay, but it's not. The other thing, and this bothered me more than anything, this book provides 2 websites in it, one called Grindr and one called OkCupid. And it tells you how to get there, how to sign up, and what it is. And what these books are is for sexual activity with other people online. Okay, fine. Somebody wants to buy this book and get it, that's fine, but it doesn't belong with minors in the school system. That's my point here. This isn't about anything else except for pornographically explicit stuff in school systems, period. And that's what Janet was trying to talk about. Let's just have ratings. Let's look at these books. Let's read them and go, oh, yes, or oh, no, do something about it. And on top of that, those websites, isn't that grooming? It's close to it. We all know. My grandkids are 13 and 10. And it's a nightmare nowadays. And some of you are teachers and you're all parents. I think most of us here are parents. It's a nightmare, the internet now. It's really a problem. So why are we allowing, we should be looking at these books to make sure that's not happening. But the biggest point I want to make is that someone said up here, okay? And all you people, I love you guys. I don't love you, but I know you work hard, you volunteer, you do this, and this is hard to do. But someone said that because of what Councilor Cushman had said, that they might be considered to be removed from a couple of committees that they are on for harming children. How on earth is it possible to try to say you're harming children when all you're trying to do is make sure books aren't getting in their hands? And in my opinion, for anybody who would think that was harming children, I think, what are you thinking? Where are your where are your morals and your morality and your caring about children? Harming children is letting them get a hold of these books without parental supervision and without, I mean, if the parents want to let their kids read this book, that, we can't control that. But I just wanted that out there. So thank you very much. Have a good Thanksgiving.
Thank you.
That's turned on.
Carmela Stauffer.
Is it on? Yes. Okay. Yeah.
The red light is on, yes.
Oh, hello. My name is Carmela Stauffer, and I live at 7 Birchwood Terrace. I have been a resident of Enfield for 73 years. Went to school and graduated from Enfield High, as well as my husband. I raised 2 sons, and they also graduated from Fermi. I have 5 grandchildren. 3 live in Enfield, and 2 graduated from Fermi, and 1 from Enfield. I have a grandson that's attending JFK, and lucky him, he's got a nice new school to, and he's 8th grade. And the other 2 live in Suffield. My concern is with the agenda that now being allowed in all our school systems now. The books that are being allowed in our school libraries and some others that are being considered, such as this book is gay. I don't understand, and maybe you can shed some light on this, is why these books are even being considered or recommended to be in school libraries. I do believe it's up to parents to talk and show choices to their kids. It's hard enough for parents to keep some of this info away from kids because of the internet. So why would you make it harder for parents having these kinds of books in our school libraries? I have people I know that are gay and also parents that have transgender. They are wonderful parents. I believe it's their right and all parents' rights to show their children and allow them to make these choices, not the schools. I'm appalled over the last years of what I'm appalled over the last years at what they want to have as assignments. Such as the pizza assignment. I know that was a mistake. So don't make another one and allow these kinds of books in our school's library. Stick to the basics and leave the sex education and preference to the parents, whether it be straight, gay, transgender, or other. In closing, these books do not belong in school libraries. If they have to be in a library, let them be in a public library, I guess, in the adult section, where only the parents can check out them out. And if parents really want them to see or read these books, it's the parents' choice, not the schools. Thank you, and have a wonderful Thanksgiving.
Thank you. Kelly Jackson.
Kelly Jackson, 30 Mead Lane. So I'm here tonight to have a conversation with you, Mr. Ungeier. Seems to be our thing. So I FOI'd some emails from the Board of Ed between a certain time and a certain time. And it's funny, there's an email in there from a resident in this town addressed strictly to you. Now, the funny thing is there's no email from you to her. So I can't figure out why she would just email just you. Also, there was a unhinged resident in our town. That's what we're going to call him. And he had something to say about my son's situation. And it's funny because every piece of his comment is stated in this email. And he told me he got it from a trusted, reliable source. So my question to you is, are we passing out emails to unhinged residents? That's all I got to say. Happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you, Ms. Jackson. Walter Cruzel. Let's keep our comments down, please.
Walter J. Cruzel, 21 Charlie Road. Let me start first before I get cut off. Happy Thanksgiving to everyone. Merry Christmas to everyone. I'm here for a different subject. I'm here for a group that was actually the last thing that met in March of 2020 was First Readers. And I just want to bring you up to speed that it's met throughout the pandemic via Zoom, and now we're meeting in person. Shoot, I had it up. So I just want to bring you some dates that are coming up, some events coming up. The trivia night's back after a 3-year absence. Saturday, February 25th, 2023, 7 p.m. at Mount Carmel Banquet Hall. Tickets are still $15 a person, $130 for table. And this is their only fundraiser a year that they do. And then also, we do meet at the library. And the next meeting at the library is December 13th at 5 p.m. So all are welcome, and it'd be nice to have a liaison from you guys. I know there was one back when I was there, and it was me. So I'm still on the committee, and I'm still giving my support. And then we're going to have the ceremonies back this year. We're going to have the first one on Monday, March 6th at JFK. And the last one will be June 5th at Enfield High School. And all this information can be found on EnfieldReaders.org. I believe that's the website. I just had it up. Yes. No, I'm sorry, FirstReaders.org. FirstReaders.org. Or you can go out to their Facebook page, First Readers Association of Enfield, Connecticut. But I would like to throw it out to the public that volunteers are needed. If you could make it to the December 13th meeting at 5 o'clock in the Central Library, that would be appreciated. It is a great group. Like I said, we've met. We met all through the pandemic via Zoom and then back to in person. We had the drive-through events the last 2 years through Asnuntuck. Want to thank Asnuntuck for that. So just throwing that out there for you. Do want to congratulate you on your appointment to the Joint Facilities, even though it was someone that already had a seat at the table. And I'm still waiting for my call to be appointed but I know that's not going to happen because there is no other seat to be appointed. So you were fed information that was incorrect. So I'll just be the fact checker again, like we got now with Facebook. But congratulations on that. And then I just want to thank Vice Chairman Ryder for reaching out to me at the annex on the day of the election. It was nice to say hi to you and thank you for coming out. And again, happy Thanksgiving to everyone. Merry Christmas to everyone. And it's past my bedtime. I'm not going to stay to the end. I've done 6 years of that.
Thank you, Mr. Cruzel. Liz Davis.
Liz Davis. I reside at 201 North Maple Street. First off, as a parent of a child that since kindergarten is now a 12th grader graduating and 2 sons prior going through Enfield Public Schools, I'd like to say what I'm thankful for. So I'm thankful for our amazing teachers. So I know you're watching, and the ones watching home, and our administration sitting here. Having my daughter, my son's already going through prior, and our daughter doing K through now is a senior, which I still can't believe she's a senior. And we just got our first letter of acceptance to one of the colleges early. You know, we're early, it's in November. A generous academic scholarship came, a very large one. And also invitation to their honors program, their honor housing, and, you know, all this stuff. Now we're in November. It's so early, which is shocking, the first college one coming. But I want to thank the Enfield Public School system for that. Because of your guys' guidance, because of your guys' curriculum, because of your guys' great leadership and the amazing teachers we have, is why our daughter has achieved so much and is going to keep achieving so much throughout her life because of what the Enfield Public School instilled in her. And yes, the parents too, and we are involved parents. And I'd have to say, when we always went to the parent-teacher conferences, it wasn't, what are you, you know, it was more, can you please tell us what we can do at home to help our daughter exceed more in the Enfield Public Schools. And the teachers at, you know, kindergarten, which never forget, Mrs. Dupierre has started her whole education off in the Enfield Public School system. I could never thank her enough. Or first grade Mrs. Baffy, that, you know, you're like, can another teacher even top this great teacher, the great year we had? And you know what? Every year, every teacher has, right up to middle school where you have 7 teachers, up to high school. The coaches throughout our school system, the staff, our peers that help, the secretaries, the lunch aides, the bus. It takes the whole community, our education system working together as you guys lead the way. And I want to thank you. And what it turns out is an amazing product of a child. And I want to thank the Enfield Public School. Mr. Dresdick, thank you for your outstanding leadership. Because of leadership that you guys have for our staff and teachers is one of the core reasons why my child has exceeded so much through the education system. And now we have colleges just knocking at our doors. So thank you very much. Keep doing what you're doing. And I hope everybody has a great Thanksgiving.
Thank you, Ms. Davis. Audiences is now closed. Get back to the agenda. Okay, item 9, board member comments. I will start with Ms. Acree.
Good evening. First of all, before I give the report for Crandall School, I would just like to say something to Ms. Jackson. Ms. Jackson, I am sorry for what your son experienced during the summer. And with that, I'd like to segue into how it's very sad that we all live in the world that people are not tolerant and acceptance, people accepting others who have different backgrounds and cultures and races and so on. I really hope, this just came to me, that I hope in the near future that our Enfield community can come together and really truly celebrate our similarities and differences that we all, you know, have, and we all share certain things, and that we're all part of the human race. And one thing I did notice, I wish people would start listening to one another. It's okay to agree, to disagree, but really take in and listen to one another before having an attitude, oh, I don't agree, so I'm not going to listen. No, I think we really do need to listen to one another, and maybe we can get along better and come up with more resolutions. From the desk of Mr. Dupierre, The Kid Governor program conducted an election rally at Prudence Crandall. Students reviewed the voting process. They learned about the Kid Governor candidates and talked about the importance of voting. Parents of students in 5th grade were invited to an author's tea. The students were able to read their published narrative pieces to their parents and enjoy some snacks. The North Thompsonville Fire Department is back working monthly with the students in grade 3 at Crandall. Students have learned about the safety, the exit drills at home, and how to crawl safely during a fire. And on Wednesday, we will be hosting a family engagement day for our 3rd and 4th grade parents. The parents will join their students in their classroom, take home an activity to work with their children at home, and meet members from the community. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Acree. Dr. Kelnan?
Okay, just a few, thank you. Just a few kite announcements. There will be a community conversation next spring relating to equity and diversity at Asnuntuck. The day-long Heritage Fair will be returning in February at JFK to celebrate what makes the Enfield community unique and to showcase its diversity. The first organizing meeting was scheduled to be held on December 7th. The Family Resource Center held a, quote, coffee and conversation, unquote, meeting on November 4th with parents of Stowe Eaglets to brainstorm about the most effective ways that Stowe can address parental concerns and suggestions in early learning context. There will be 3 such meetings during the school year. There was an update on the Sparkler program. This is the method of doing developmental screening by means of an app rather than with paper and pencil. Training on coding for this app was reviewed to enable parents to share results of developmental screening with the Stowe staff. There was also a discussion about how screening results could be shared with pediatricians. Kite is ready to launch year number 3 of the well-received Family Engagement Initiative conducted under the auspices of the Giselle Institute of Child Development. A new iteration of the Kite Community Plan is being planned, and surveys of the membership will be sent out shortly. The Parent Leadership Academy is recruiting participants for the upcoming year. The course is free. For more information, you can go to the Enfield Schools website or call 860-253-6500. Applications will be open until the first week of December. First readers will be holding their next celebration on March 6th at JFK, as you've already heard. This continues to be a highly successful program celebrating the emerging literacy skills of young children. You can contact first readers. I didn't have quite the same website as you had heard, but my website is firstreadersofenfield@gmail.com. The Enfield Together Coalition will be sponsoring a meeting about fentanyl addiction on December 6th from 5:30 to 7:30 in the evening. Free dinner and childcare will be provided. The speakers will include Anna Gasinski, who is the public health analyst, and Bobby Lawler, intelligence officer from the New England High-Intensity Drug Trafficking Area of the Office of National Drug Control Policy. There will also be a representative from the Enfield Police Department, and you may register for this at gcyr@enfield.org or call 860-253-6382. I guess one question is, well, we're talking about children. Why are we discussing fentanyl addiction on this format? And I guess the concern is we're not really talking about the children, we're talking about their parents. With respect to Head Start, the Head Start Policy Committee held its November meeting on the 4th of the month. Currently, 101 children are enrolled. There is one position being held for a child of a homeless family. Attendance is at 85%. As we'll discuss in a little bit, the $988,000 federal grant application was discussed at the meeting. The grant covers primarily salaries, the Child Plus data warehouse, home visiting, and other travel expenses, classroom supplies, nursing supply, and a contract with David Bechtel for an assessment of community needs. The goals of the work in the grant include school readiness, partnering with parents to support student progress, and collaboration with community partners. A vote on the Head Start federal grant for 2023-24 as presented was passed. The education update, Stowe Early Learning just finished Unit 1 on, quote, beginning the year, unquote, and is now moving on to Unit 2, the subject of which is buildings. The Head Start Health Advisory Committee will be meeting on the 14th or the 15th of December. There is a great deal that I am leaving out of this report, but I essentially presented the gist of this at the last board meeting. So in the interest of time, I won't be reviewing it again at this meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Kalnin. Mr. Hamry?
Thank you. Start off with the JFK PTO update. The Drama Club will be doing Newsies Junior this year, so please put that on your calendar to attend that. If you're not familiar with Newsies, it is an incredibly involved show and involves a lot of intricate dance work and choreography, and I would very much look forward to seeing that brought to the stage at JFK, particularly in the new auditorium with the 4 microphones that I expect will be in order. Second, the principal's newsletter will be coming out at the end of next week, with important dates coming up in December. So to the parents of JFK students, watch for that then. And the December PTO meeting will happen on the 7th. That one will be virtual. To the events, let's see here. I want to thank Dave Orton for inviting me to be a judge at the Enfield Instrumental Music Association Chili Cook-Off recently. It was absolutely amazing, and it was a great turnout. I hope it was as successful as they had worked for, because they worked very hard to make that a success, and the turnout was very nice. I want to thank Guy Barassa and Mr. Ryder here for allowing me to call the game at Enfield High last Wednesday. It was a continuation of the game that started in September when Woodstock Academy's player had the medical concern. They were good enough to come back and allow us to finish that game, and very happy that the Enfield High Eagles won the game with a significant score. So again, congratulations to them on a wonderfully played game, and again, good to see Woodstock Academy and that particular player back in action. To the advisory committee, I don't think I had a question about that. Through the chair to Superintendent Dresik, you mentioned that would be at the end of the week, that you would send out something to the applicants. Would that be the end of tomorrow, or are you working on Friday?
No, we're closed. The application process is still open.
Yes.
I didn't close it out because people were still applying, so that will close out this week. The invitations will go out.
So does that close tomorrow or Friday or Saturday? How does that?
Good. Yeah. Tomorrow. It closes tomorrow.
All right. Thank you. I appreciate that. The cold weather situation that's obviously happening still. The cold weather is affecting a lot of folks in town that are in housing insecurity. I'm happy to have the report that, again, it does affect the students through the schools in one way, shape, or form. But there is going to be the cold weather update for, the Safe Harbor shelter opening up, a warming center. There's a word, I'm trying to find it. So the warming center will open up December 1st if there's anybody in need, and it will stay open for at least the 3 months to follow. So it's a resource to those that are in need, and the families that may benefit from that should have no hesitation to take advantage of that service. I want to take a moment to speak to the mentions, the comments from the audience this evening about a couple of very important things. Regarding the book ban. So do the homework on that topic, please. The list of books that were brought up in the email that Ms. Cushman had written were not books in our schools. They do not exist on the shelves in our libraries. They have no place being on those shelves in our libraries at our schools unless they go through the process that is in place to review the materials that are brought into our school libraries. I want to say again, they are not on the shelves in our libraries. If our audience members that spoke tonight are being given that information that they are, it is not in fact true. And at the policy meetings where we've talked about this, Ms. Cushman admitted to that they do not exist on the shelves in our schools. That they came up in conversation is a good thing, because as the speakers tonight mentioned, it is the responsibility of the parents to have the conversations, to have those difficult conversations, the ones that make you feel awkward or uncomfortable or make you squirm in your chair because it's just awkward material. It is not the responsibility of anybody else before it is the parents. But and I've said this before, if you have those conversations at home, it makes it easier for that student to have those conversations elsewhere, including among their friends. To the speaker that mentioned the website, again, that Ms. Cushman had brought up, that website is, well, I would encourage anybody, again, I said this when she first mentioned it, I would encourage anybody with internet access to visit that website, because the materials on that are of more concern than a book that describes an act that is age appropriate. Talk about your bias against a certain demographic. One of the speakers, this first speaker of the evening, did mention a particular board member that talked about another board member that was trying to harm students. And I want to be very clear about that. It wasn't a broad stroke statement about the efforts to harm a student or students. It is about the efforts being made to take away protections from our students, to take away the constitutionally protected rights afforded to our students that have lived their own stories. And to all those people that have fought to give them those rights, there are their rights. And through the actions being taken by a certain board member that brings up books that don't belong in the schools, that aren't there to begin with, and websites of questionable intent, it is important to understand that it is not an effort to hurt a child. It's the efforts to remove protections that protect the child from being hurt, and repercussions that lead to that follow if that child is hurt. So let's be very clear about that. The efforts that are being made to take away protections from our students is what I am not okay with. I will say that every day I can. It's never changed. It never will change. The efforts that are being taken to remove those protections would be removed by now had it not been for the majority on this board right now. So I want to make sure that there's that's out there and clarified. I do appreciate the opportunity to take so much time again. Thank you very much. And I do welcome anybody's questions about this and appreciate those that expressed a concern.
Thank you, Mr. Hamry. Mr. LeBlanc?
Good evening. I do want to just start with the audience, a couple that have come up. First to Walter Cruzel, who spoke of First Readers. Great organization. They've had to be extremely flexible over the last couple years with everything going on. And as he said, with the drive-through at Nantucket, and again, adjusting for it could be continued to help the students in town and celebrate them. It's been great. I'm glad that he gave the report tonight that it's going to go back to pre-COVID with the celebration in the auditoriums at the school. That'll be something to look forward to as we get into the new year. And again, I echo his statement of volunteer. It's important that that organization keeps going in town. To Liz Davis, congratulations to your daughter. It goes to show that anybody can strive and really achieve good things in our school system, and your daughter is a prime example of that. I know she's very academically driven and on the field as well when it comes to extracurricular sports and stuff like that. Well-rounded student, can lead to a lot of places, and congratulations to her and to any other students that may be receiving the same early enrollment acceptance. And then 2 more points. I just want to recognize somebody in the audience tonight, our town manager, who came to our meeting. If you go on her Facebook page, you can see how busy she is, and she's taking the time out tonight to come to a Board of Education meeting and listen to the concerns and celebrations of what's going on in town, and very engaged. So Ellen, thank you for coming and listening and being here and being present. And lastly, congratulations to the Enfield A Ramblers football team, who came away with the Connecticut Youth Football League championship this past Sunday. They played East Hartford. Obviously, East Hartford's a very, very good football town. It was 2 undefeated teams. Enfield and East Hartford were both undefeated, and the right E came away with the championship. So, congratulations to all those boys and the coaches, teams, parents on a great season. That's it.
Thank you. Mr. Ungary?
So last week, Hazardsville Memorial had a wonderful Veterans Day assembly. There were over 20 veterans there in attendance, and the mayor attended, and he kicked the event off with a short message. It was a school-wide event and teaching our young people about the importance of our veterans. So it was a great day at Hazardsville Memorial. As Buzz Robotics liaison here, I've been coordinating with John Daig. John is a Director of Strategic Development and Partnerships Enfield Public Schools. And so been able to leverage some industry relationships that I had with 2 very interesting companies. And they've agreed to host our Enfield Robotics students. And one of those companies is a company called Boston Dynamics. They are a world leader in development of robots. And I would encourage anybody, if you're not familiar with them, to just go on YouTube and plug in Boston Dynamics, and you'll see some pretty interesting things. And so they've offered to take in our Enfield students and tour them in the facility and let them actually do some things with these high-tech robots. And then another company during that would be a company called Transcend Air, who's in development of a high-speed VTOL aircraft. They have a research and development small facility there, and they've welcomed the Enfield Robotics young people to go and visit them. They have a U.S. Air Force contract to develop a prototype, and what they're working on now. And it's unmanned. It will be automated, and it's kind of like a flying robot. So that should be very, very interesting. I know that John is working with Caroline Marr, and Caroline is Enfield High School mathematics teacher and the lead Buzz Robotics advisor. So they're working on all of the logistics of when and how and how to make that happen to visit to those places. And Liz, congratulations on your daughter. And yeah, sounds good.
Thank you, Mr. Ungary. Ms. Pickett?
All right. So the upcoming holiday season, I see this as a time to reflect, learn, and focus on gratitude. So I want to just share my how incredibly grateful I am for the staff of Enfield Public Schools. Thank you for what you do each day. It really matters. I also want to encourage families and staff to consider checking out resources from Learning for Justice on how to talk about Thanksgiving in a socially responsible way. It should also be noted that November is Native American Heritage Month. I know our website can sometimes be a little tricky, but if you go on the Enfield Schools website and click on departments, our educational equity has a tab, and there's some great resources and videos posted there. So thank you, Chris and central office staff, and whoever helped. My guess is Miss Eltressa Cox-Blackwell. But that, I think, is a nice thing that I saw added to the page with some great resources for families and teachers to look at. I want to give another thank you to Carrie Wiley and Emily Helovich. I attended the Digital Citizenship Night at Enfield Street School, and as a mom, it was nice to be in a space and meet the staff and the teachers who are teaching this concept to my kiddos, but also for me to make connections on how I can support that learning at home, and making connections to what I'm hearing them talk about in digital citizenship with other things that I see my kids coming home with regarding social emotional learning, PBIS expectations. So seeing the connections was really exciting, and I thank them both for their efforts. I know there wasn't a huge turnout, but I don't think that means that families aren't interested. I see this as an opportunity to see what worked and how do we get this information out in a wider way, because Carrie and Emily definitely put a lot of effort into what they did, and I thank them a ton for that. I was also able to attend the Veterans Day celebration at Enfield Street School. My dad attended. My kiddos were super excited. I want to send a special thank you to Mrs. Sengupta, the music teacher at Enfield Street School, who was definitely the masters of ceremonies. The students sang. There was a book that was read. My dad left there in tears. So I think for a veteran who probably didn't get the warmest welcome home, definitely got it last week. So thank you so much, Enfield Street School. The PTO has a ton of events and fundraisers coming up. Please check the Facebook page and the principal newsletter that comes out on Fridays. All of that information is included there. I have said over and over again how family engagement is really important to me. So I do want to give a kudos to Crandall. I know, Jean, you mentioned this, for their creative way to partner with families through a family engagement day, and hearing about the huge turnout for the Parent Advisory Council. I think that demonstrates that families want to be engaged, and we just got to find creative ways to do it. So I'm excited to hear about your inclusive model, Chris, to make sure families are able to participate. Centering their voice into actionable change sounds really exciting to me. And then I just want to clarify and build upon what Josh had mentioned regarding the book question. There is a protocol and a process for which donated books are reviewed. So I know it was out there publicly that some books were donated, and I'm guessing that that was some of the concern that the women had this evening. So I just want to share, and this was shared with us as a board. Donated books are first given to our coordinator of reading and library services. Our coordinator will then read these books to determine if they're relevant and appropriate to be shared in our school libraries. If she has any questions after reading these books, she then reaches out to administration for their opinion, which could include the chief academic officer. Chris, there is a process, so books don't just get donated and put on our shelves. So I think that's really important to clarify. And again, thank you to Enfield Public Schools, and have a nice break.
Thank you, Ms. Pickett. Mr. Ryder?
So first of all, to our kid mayor, Tristan, thank you again. I think that I would love, as we have all said, to have him come back. Related to something that Mr. Crizel brought to our attention, to the chair, I would ask that perhaps we put a liaison to first readers on our next agenda as something to consider.
I believe it's Ms. Cushman.
Oh, okay.
And
I don't
there
have
could have been
the notes in front of me. But.
Right. There could have been a lack of communication somewhere telling them that Ms. Cushman was our first reader liaison. So I will work on that.
Because even when Mr. Crizel was chair, our liaison was Joyce Hall, who was actually one of the founding members of First Readers. So anytime I can say the name Joyce Hall aloud, I will. And one of the events that he'd mentioned February 25th, First Readers Trivia Night, which hasn't occurred live and in person in 3 years. I will actually be there providing all the AV for that event. So we are still doing things with first readers behind the scenes, and if you could confirm if that is the liaison, at least we know that that's
Yes,
that.
I
That'd
will.
be great. Thank you. So very busy week. Last week, I'll talk about last week before I talk about my outfit. So last week on Wednesday, I got to go to JFK Middle School to honor 2 students who won the North Central Connecticut Acts of Kindness Award. This is an award that started with the Miller family, who used to own shop right here in town, and now it's something that falls under the North Central Connecticut Chamber of Commerce. And these students are awarded an Act of Kindness Award not for their academics, not for their sport or athletic achievements, not even for their musical skills, but for just being kind, not only to fellow students, but to teachers, any building administrator or staff member can nominate students. So I got to go to JFK to present 2 of those awards last Wednesday. And I'll be sharing those students' names and a little bit about each of them in the coming weeks through our websites. And then the next day on Thursday, Wednesday the 16th, I was at Enfield High School where we got to award the same award to 4 high school students. And it's really special when the kids are called down to the Career Center or we go into their classrooms at JFK, and often their parents know, their parents are invited, and there's always that moment of, what did I do? Why is mom, dad, grandma, uncle, and then they're given this award, and it's just something that I'm very appreciative and able to help happen on 2 sides of the award, both as a vice chair of this amazing Board of Education in this amazing town, and also be able to create the awards and help pass them out. So I want to thank our teachers and staff, because it's one more thing that we task them to do. It's for a good reason, but again, it's another thing that they don't even blink. They do it because they want to honor our kids. So after I left the high school that afternoon, I went to Eli Whitney for their literacy night, where I was then had to quickly change into a scarecrow costume. I believe you saw my pictures. So I dressed up as a scarecrow to read the book, The Scarecrow, to a group of students, and I want to thank the teachers that organized that at Eli Whitney. It was hosted by the reading department at Eli Whitney. Also coming up at Eli Whitney in the coming weeks, December 5th and 8th, Scholastic Book Fair is back in the building. I know it's always a great opportunity for kids to get to go and shop and look at books. I ran book fairs at Eli Whitney and Hazardville for many, many, many years, and I always got a big kick out of that, and kids still recognize me today that are now at the high school and middle school and try to fire me from the book fair. Also, there's going to be a family shop night on December 9th of that same week at Eli Whitney, and that's a chance for parents to shop at the Scholastic Book Fair with their students, and that'll happen between 6 and 7:30 at the same time as Pajama Jam, and that is how Eli Whitney has chosen to end PJ Day, which I will get to. That is all day Friday, December 9th in all of our buildings. Also at Eli Whitney, there's a food drive happening to benefit both Enfield Food Shelf and Loaves and Fishes. We are collecting donations at Eli Whitney through December 16th. I know JFK also just wrapped up their Fill the Boat on Monday of this week for Loaves and Fishes. I'm sorry, for the Enfield Food Shelf. Wreaths across America. Wreaths can now be purchased on all Enfield PTO websites, so enfieldpto.com/HMS/EW, et cetera, et cetera. So all the schools have a link on their enfieldpto.com page where you can purchase a wreath. $5 of your donation stays in the school, goes to the PTO. The rest of it goes to cover the cost of the wreath for Wreaths Across America. And that can all be done now through the end of this month. And again, there's all of our schools are participating in that from K through grade 8. So all those schools have links. Invention Convention. I was asked to share this by one of our teacher liaisons for Invention Convention. There is a kickoff event meeting on Tuesday, November 29th at JFK from 6 to 7 p.m. Participation forms are due back the following day to your schools, Wednesday, November 30th. Now, this is open to all students grades 3 through 8. So the same flyer and the same information should be being shared at Eli Whitney, Prudence Crandall, as well as Parkman, and of course at JFK. But the meeting will be at JFK, irrelevant of which school you attend. So if you're in grades 3 through 8 and you have an interest in the Invention Convention, please attend that Tuesday night meeting on the 27th at JFK from 6 to 7. And lastly, at Eli Whitney, we have picture retakes on December 13th. And I also wanted to mention the EHS SafeGrad auction because our student liaison did not mention that, but I want to plug that as well. So, it's coming up. Okay, so December 3rd is the SafeGrad auction. But just as a reminder, the tickets are available through enfieldpto.com/SafeGrad. And I think that brings us to PJ Day. So PJ Day is something that a handful of schools were doing with Connecticut Children's. Formerly known as CCMC. Now they're Connecticut Children's. So Connecticut Children's started this event about a decade ago, where you could donate $1, and it's optional. And if you have it, great. And if you don't, you can still wear your PJs on December 9th. But basically, it would give kids the opportunity to donate $1 for the privilege of wearing the pajamas to school that day. And through helping manage some of the PTOs and working with the different PTOs in town, as that relationship grew, I realized that they were doing it at Parkman because cancer had affected the child of a staff member. And then they were also doing it at JFK for similar reasons. And then they were doing it at another school because they actually had a student that was going to CCMC, Connecticut Children's. So then they jumped in. And about 6 years ago, coincidentally, at the same time I joined the Board of Education, I had asked the superintendent and the assistant superintendent, is there any objection to doing this as a town, as an entity, as Enfield Public Schools? And they said, Mr. Ryder, if you want to create a flyer and pass it around, fine by us. And we have appeared as Enfield PTO/Enfield Public Schools in the top 5 for all towns fundraising for this event for 5 consecutive years. We were number 2 last year until a couple of donations came in, bumped us, I think, to number 4. But we've been in the top 5. And Enfield is not the most affluent town in Connecticut. We are not the largest town in Connecticut. And we may be one of the largest towns north of Hartford, but Connecticut is still a large state with 169 towns. And I'm very proud that last year we did so well. And even 2 years ago, even during COVID, where we had to have, we were doing splits. So, you go to school Monday and Tuesday, and everybody was learning from home on Wednesdays, and different groups of kids, last names, M to Z, were going on Thursdays and Fridays. So we had 2 PJ days. And then PJ Day became, virtual, or not virtual, but we did all the fundraising online. And I was like, online, we're not going to do as well because it's so great to bring in 4 quarters or 10 dimes or your $1 bill and give it to your teacher on that Friday morning and be like, I got my PJs on, Mrs. So-and-so or Mr. So-and-so, and I'm so excited. We raised more money when we went to the .com. So this address is on enfieldpto.com. It's on all the schools' pages. It's on our opening page as well. But it's give.connecticutchildrens.org/EnfieldPTO22, as this is 2022. There's a Facebook event page called Enfield PTO/Enfield Public Schools PJ Day 2022, which again is Friday, December 9th. And the following people are encouraged to join us again. And I will be going around that Friday with my PJs on with pride to see all the kids and to thank them for their participation, because this is a huge deal that Enfield as an entity has been recognized throughout the state as, again, being one of the top 5 fundraisers consistently for 5 years now. So I want to personally invite all the students and staff at Stowe, Enfield Street, Parkman, Hazardville Memorial, Eli Whitney, Henry Barnard, Prudence Crandall, Eagle Academy, JFK, EHS, Alcorn, Adult and Alternative Ed, all of our friends at Smith Bus, who have donated hundreds of dollars year after year that they collect when they bring their dollar into work that morning at 5 a.m. to warm up their buses in mid-December in Connecticut. All of our students, any local business that wish to participate, we can all use the same .com, give.connecticutchildrens.org/EnfieldPTO22. I also want to invite all the assistant superintendents and all the superintendents of Enfield Public Schools to join in with us. And I wanted to let all of them know that our Teacher of the Year, Ms. Venutos, has added another layer to this year, where we're all going to get a chance to give messages to the students at Connecticut Children's through her Flipgrid that she's done and that we learned a little bit about when she became our Teacher of the Year. And this communication will be going out after the Thanksgiving holiday, so please check your email on Monday, the 28th. But PJ Day is coming. So in addition to wearing our PJs as a town, as a community, and as a family Friday, December 9th, and making donations in person or online, all Enfield Public School students will be invited this year to show their support by creating a short video called Messages of Hope. This will be sent to the children down at Connecticut Children's who are currently wearing their PJs, battling cancer. They'll spend their holidays there, as children before them have done the same. So information on how to participate will be shared with all families again on Monday, November 28th. There'll be a robocall. There'll be an email sent to everybody. And every student from Stowe to adult and alternative ed, all ages are welcome to participate. And selected videos will be shared district-wide on PJ Day, December 9th. This is a project that started at HMS and Eli Whitney and at Parkman at JFK several years ago, but HMS and Eli Whitney have been doing the Flipgrid regarding this since December of 2020. And we are excited that all EPS schools will now be welcome and invited to take part in this Flipgrid video project, which is another layer to this. We keep adding layers and we keep doing good things, and that's the kind of stuff that I want to talk about and promote. And I'm proud of being a part of this, and I'm speaking of Joyce Hall. So the first year that I asked if we could do this as a district, I was off camera to her left. Yeah. I think Tina was not here, but you're further down the table, and it was Tina and Joyce, and then there, and then Joyce was doing her talk, and as she was doing that, I was changing into PJs off camera, and she stopped her speech immediately. Mr. Ryder, your enthusiasm is admirable, but I would ask you to not change while I'm giving my address to the public. So for you, Joyce, we added more and more layers to PJ Day. So again, Friday, December 9th, please consider making a donation and taking part and wearing your PJs with our assistant and superintendent that day. So thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Mr. Ryder. I will also mention how the following year, Ms. Hall showed up in her nightgown in support of PJ Day.
She was all in. She just didn't like the surprise.
Yes. That's when we found out her favorite color was plaid.
Yes, because she had plaid PJs.
Yes. So just a couple things. Mr. Cruzel, thank you very much for mentioning first readers tonight. I will clarify, but I believe our liaison is Janet Cushman. As far as the Joint Facilities Committee goes, I will look into why that's not happening. We had talked ourselves, leadership here, regarding your appointment. And we thought that you would be a continued asset to have on the joint facilities. So let me look into that, and then I will contact you regarding the status of that. To Ms. Hayward and Ms. Stauffer, I appreciate you coming out tonight and sharing the concerns that you have for your grandchildren regarding the books and regarding the curriculum, and sharing your thoughts. Ms. Davis, congratulations to Betsy. You're going to, blink your eyes, and it's going to be June, and she's going to be walking across the stage getting her diploma. So it's going to go by quick. We're almost Thanksgiving and then Christmas. Cookies for Camouflage is happening this Sunday, November 27th from 11 to 3. You can drop off at American Legion. This is a wonderful program organized by Lori Gates, where you can bake cookies and there's drop boxes and they go to different soldiers. And then Pam Townsend and Lori Gates will be coming to our December meeting to talk about the Wreaths of America ceremony, which is going to happen at, I believe it's St. Patrick's Cemetery. Yes. Okay. The other thing is I saw a teacher, Ms. Grout, she's a teacher at Enfield High. She is collecting toiletries and different items to put together baskets for families in need. So if you have any items or, you know, you're doing Black Friday shopping and you can pick up toiletries or socks or anything like that, Ms. Grout is, you can contact her, you can contact me, and I'll put you in touch with her. I think that's a wonderful thing she's doing for Enfield High. The Enfield High girls soccer team, they lost in their first rounds of playoffs, but it was a great game, and it was right up until the end when the other team scored, but congratulations to them. Tomorrow night, I will be attending the Route 5 rivalry game. I'm happy to see that this is a Wednesday night game. It's been on Saturdays for such a long time. Last year was on a Saturday. At South Windsor. Are Scott and Scott announcing, or?
If Guy needs me to, but I believe he's holding the fort for that particular. I'll be in attendance just to make sure.
Yes. I also encourage parents, especially parents of younger kids, to look at the rec department website. They have some exciting things coming up for the month of December that might interest you, so I encourage you to do that. I'm just going to add, I did get a question on the student advisory, or the parent advisory council that the superintendent is doing, and I just want to put this out there that there was concern that the elected officials were going to have a say in the applicants, and we are not. This is something that is being run by central office. Politics is out of it. It is completely being run by central office. I'll take a minute to, I just want to say thank you to Alex, our ETV guy. You guys don't see him, and he works so hard for us, and he always has to make sure everything's okay, and we just appreciate all his hard work that he does and making sure that, you know, he's set for our meetings. He takes his job very seriously, and we appreciate him for that. So the SafeGrad, I'm going to do the SafeGrad update. So I wanted to just say the SafeGrad auction is December 3rd. Tickets are $20 or 2 for $30. The event is at Mount Carmel. You can go to enfieldpto.com/SafeGrad. SafeGrad is still accepting donations. I would like to let the SafeGrad committee know that Ms. Cushman reached out to me, and me and Ms. Cushman are going to put a basket on behalf of the Board of Ed. We had some really fun idea to do together, so we'll be working on that, and we will get you that basket. The other thing about Enfield High is the date for the senior brag pages for the yearbook have been extended until 11 a.m. tomorrow. Students need to access the link in their school email to submit. The SafeGrad committee also wanted everyone to know the flamingos are in hibernation for the winter, and they would let us know when they were coming back out. Mr. Ungeier, so that is really interesting that you were able to get some industry contacts for Buzz Robotics. So if you could continue to update us on how that's going, and I would appreciate that. I think, you know, local, we have to go outside local and kind of, you know, so you're in Boston Dynamics. So I really appreciate that opportunity for the Buzz kids. And then Mr. Drezik, I was not able to attend the digital citizenship, and I know a few board members were not able to attend. So I was wondering if we can, you know, get Dr. Wiley here and present a modified version of what she spoke about at those evenings, because I know she did K through 2. She's doing 3 through 5, but you know, attendance was low, but a lot of people, you know, watch our meetings or might watch if they know that the digital citizenship is going to be on there. So I'd love to have her at a meeting, you know, even February, March-ish. So I think that.
Ironically, she was originally scheduled for this evening, but she got bumped by Tristan.
Oh. It's okay. We'll accept that. Yes, and I would like to wish everyone in Enfield Public Schools, the residents of Enfield, my board members, a very happy and healthy Thanksgiving. I hope you get some rest, some much needed time with your families, a little bit of time away from what we deal with in a given week, and I hope everything goes well for you. That's all I have. Sure.
Sorry, I forgot to add something. I stuck it in my bag before I left, but this was mailed home today, and I think a piece that we probably don't talk enough about, and maybe another guest list that I'll say to Tina, maybe to Chris, is our adult and continuing education programming. This came home. I'm gonna plug the culinary classes. Nice. Partnership there with Chef O, but great, amazing opportunities to continue to support our adult learners and our residents and families. So please check these out.
Item 10, unfinished business, adopt new policies and policy revisions, second reading. Mr. Ryder?
So yes, this is a second reading of a group of policies that we discussed at our last meeting. So I would move forward with passing them.
Okay, let me get to the policies.
They're all included in our packet, sorry.
Yes. Yes. Can I have a motion to approve the policies, the proposed new policies and the policy revisions?
Moved.
Second.
Moved by Ms. Pickett, seconded by Mr. Hamry. Any discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Hamry?
Yes.
Mrs. Acree?
Yes.
Mr. LeBlanc?
Yes.
Mrs. Pickett?
Yes.
Mr. Ryder?
Yes.
Mr. Ungary?
Yes.
Dr. Kalnin?
Yes.
Madam Chair?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Item 11, new business, approve the Head Start federal grant for 2023-2024. Mr. Drezek?
Thank you, Madam Chair. This is the annual grant request from our Ms. Valley. This is for the federal grant that supports our Head Start program. I believe Dr. Callan actually mentioned it earlier in his comments, so I won't repeat it all. But this is the annual vote that the board is required to take in order to implement the funds that we receive from the federal government.
Okay, do I have a motion to approve the Head Start federal grant for 2023-2024?
Moved.
Moved by Ms. Pickett, seconded by Dr. Kalnin. Any discussion?
I would just like to commend Jackie Valley and her leadership at Stowe Early Learning Center. This program serves 102 or 101, I think was in Jerry's update, of
Maybe 102.
now it might be 102 families. And the approach that Head Start takes is family and student centered with documented amazing success. Hearing even tonight from Jerry's report, a homeless student. So finding ways to really serve our most vulnerable students and lift the entire family. I believe Stowe is a gem of Enfield. Their intentional work is being done and is making an impact. I would say for one thing that Enfield is doing right is investing in high quality preschool. We are a model for the state, and I am deeply appreciative of her leadership and the work being done there.
Thank you, Ms. Pickett. Anything else? Roll call.
Mr. Hamry?
Yes.
Mrs. Acree?
Yes.
Mr. LeBlanc?
Yes.
Mrs. Pickett?
Yes.
Mr. Ryder?
Yes.
Mr. Ungary?
Yes.
Dr. Kalnin?
Yes.
Madam Chair?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Item 12, board committee reports, curriculum committee.
That's me. So first, I want to thank Michelle Middleton and the many staff that support our meetings. They always come diligently prepared, and I really appreciate their efforts. I also just want to share with folks, I'm learning so much as a mother in these meetings. I think that I know quite a bit about education, but as a mom, I'm hearing about programs of studies and course requirements and opportunities for these pathways. So I just wanted to send a reminder that these are public meetings. Folks can't participate in the meeting, but they can come and listen, and there's really important information that's being shared and talked about, and I just wanted to kind of share my learning experience in this committee and open that up for others. In our last meeting, we had some course adjustments for our English courses. We had a revision of our AP UConn course, and we added a new course, an Honors American Lit. We also had John Day come and talk about our Child Development Lab, which will next year be a 1-credit class that happens in one semester. So you get the full credit in a semester. We will still offer for next year the half credit part 2 for those who might have taken part 1. But then after next year, that will be phased out and we'll just have this semester 1 credit course, which will then lead to a college career pathway with as NUNTUC. So taking that 1 credit course really opens up some great pathways. I want to again thank Jackie Valley and her partnership with Stowe. Our students get a hands-on experience by visiting and supporting those classrooms. I also just want to commend John Daig for his continued efforts to expand our pathways, especially this pathway. I think Jerry has mentioned at previous board members our staffing shortage, not only in K-12 traditional education, but especially in early childhood education. So seeing this as a creative and innovative way to increase workforce development, I think is really awesome. We also had Michelle presented some data. We're going to continue working on that data presentation at our next meeting, which is on December 6th. It's really important that we have an understanding of the needs of our students so that we can support the district's goals and plans to address those concerns. We're also going to be addressing the K-3 reading curriculum. I just want to share from my perspective, it's clear that we can't intervene our way out of what is clearly a data concern district-wide. So looking carefully at our English language arts and math curriculum, instructional strategies, teacher professional learning and supports, and carefully planned interventions is something that I'm excited to hear more about at our upcoming meetings and maybe upcoming budget presentations. So we're meeting next on December 6th.
Thank you, Ms. Pickett. Finance Committee, Dr. Kalnin.
The Finance and Budget Committee met on November 7th, and our guest speaker was Ms. Diane Edward, who clarified some of the more salient elements of the Nutrition Services financial report, in particular the application process for the free and reduced lunch program. The challenge for the Nutrition Department is to anticipate on a monthly basis whether or not the lunches will continue to be free, as has been the case throughout most of the COVID epidemic. The Nutrition Department receives reimbursement from the state and the USDA. The net worth as of August 30th, I think, was $1,309,657.45. With respect to the TAG investment, the beginning value year to date was $3,510,482.58. The ending value as of October 31st of this year was $2,817,720.12, a loss in value of $692,762.46, but a gain of $24,715.46 in September 30th of this year, so maybe a ray of hope. A meeting with Wolf Investment is pending. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Kalnin. Policy Committee, Mr. Ryder.
Policy Committee most recently met on November 15th. We just talked about some of the things that we had been discussing. We will not have a December meeting. We meet again on January 31st.
Thank you. I just have to make a comment about the Policy Committee. Mr. Longy, you'll probably agree. They come in so prepared. They have combed through the policies before they get in there, and we don't even start them, and they're already like, I think we need to change this. So the Policy Committee does a wonderful job combing through those policies, and that would be Mr. Hamry, Mr. Ryder, and Ms. Cushman. They are well prepared for those meetings. I'm always impressed because those policies can be very boring. The Leadership Committee, we met last evening, and we set up, Kathy, I'll be emailing you some tentative dates that we set up, and we figured it would be best to start meeting as leadership regularly, and we'll schedule the meetings, and if we have nothing to discuss, we can go ahead and cancel them. So I was happy to meet last night. The Joint Facilities Committee.
So they last met on Thursday. I could not attend because I had parent-teacher conferences at the high school. So I didn't know if any of our other, were you able to attend? Yeah, okay. I'll pass that to Secretary LeBlanc.
Just very quick, just a quick fix with some of the roof construction going on. And then besides that, they were just going to push agenda items and other topics to our next meeting. So it was a very quick meeting.
Thank you. The JFK Building Committee, I don't know that I think we had, everything was said.
Just rewind the tape.
Yes. The Joint Security Committee?
We're circling a date to next meet. The last date was being bounced around was December 15th. So I'll have something to talk about at our next Board of Ed meeting on the 13th to confirm that, but I think that's the date we're looking at right now.
The Enfield Mental Health Wellness Group?
Nothing to report.
Thank you. The Enfield Cultural Arts Commission?
So a couple things here. First off, I want to congratulate the Enfield Lamplighters at the Enfield High School for a tremendous run for their show, One in a Million. They had one show Thursday, two shows Saturday one show Friday, two shows Saturday this past weekend. And it's always exciting to be in the room where it happens, so to speak. But to see the show come off with no hitches that are visitable from the audience, to be clear, is a testament to the many, many hours that go into these productions. And as a parent of two students that have been involved in the Enfield Lamplighters, I want to thank and congratulate to Mr. and Mrs. Reese for their efforts in putting these shows together, and to all of the parents of these students that participate, that are in the parking lots at 9 o'clock, lined up across the campus to pick up the students at the end of the night. It's worth it. Their enjoyment, their love of the theater that they're being a part of, and the inclusivity that goes in with that is just incredible to watch. I want to take a quick moment to, again, throw a compliment to Betsy Davis, who is also a member of the Tri-M Music program that we heard about earlier today. And congratulations to the family for the clear dedication to the betterment of their child that's evident in the achievements that she's made. The next meeting of the Enfield Culture and Arts Commission will be happening on December 6th, and in this conversation they're going to be talking about the upcoming Heritage Fair and doing what they can to plan for that. Looking forward to that because it's been a long time that we've had this Enfield Heritage Fair, so it will be a really nice return to demonstrate the multiculturalism that this town has. And again, we've heard before from Superintendent Drezig that there are, I believe, 14 different languages spoken in our schools. Well, we have a wide swath of cultures, and it's great to see those great to see those flags come out and demonstrate and see the pride that goes along with that. And 565,600 minutes is happening down the street through the Opera House Players. That would be the line in the song "Seasons of Love" from the production of Rent. And if you have not yet seen the show, please take the moment to do that. It's one last weekend coming up Friday, Saturday, two shows Saturday, and I believe one show Sunday. And it's an amazing show in its own right. If you've not seen it yet in any way, shape, or form, please do so. But kudos to the Opera House Players for putting together an incredible production of that show, utilizing the annex and its auditorium for for that production. So again, act now while supplies last. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hamry. Item 13, approval of minutes. Do I have a motion to approve the special Board of Ed meeting minutes from October 25th, 2022? Moved by Mr. Ungary, seconded by Ms. Pickett. Any discussion? Show of hands. Do I have a motion to approve the regular Board of Ed meeting minutes from October 25th, 2022?
Moved.
So moved by Ms. Pickett, second by Mr. Ungary. Any discussion? Show of hands. Item 14, approval of accounts and payroll. Dr. Calnan.
Okay. The Finance Committee met on November 7th, 2022 to review financial statements for the month of October year-to-date and to examine various documents related to finances. Our review concluded that there is nothing significant to report to the board. Excuse me. So the motion, I move we accept the superintendent's certification as follows. I hereby certify that in the months of October, total expenditures amounted to $8,317,873.09, broken down between payroll totaling $4,713,622.61 and other accounts totaling $3,604,250.48. All payments have been made in accordance with the approved budget and are properly accounted for within the books of accounts. Copies of approval for check invoices are properly documented.
Second.
Second by Ms. Pickett. Show of hands.
Okay, the certification of grants and Head Start expenditures. The Finance Committee met on November 7th, 2022 to review financial statements for grants during the month of October year-to-date and to examine various documents related to finances. Our review concluded that there is nothing significant to report to the board. Motion. I move we accept the superintendent's certification as follows. I hereby certify that in the months of October, the total grant and Head Start expenditures amounted to $733,299.50, broken down between payroll totaling $605,017.09 and other accounts totaling $128,282.41. All payments have been made in accordance with the approved budget and are properly accounted for within the books of accounts. Copies of approval for check invoices are properly documented.
Second.
Second by Ms. Pickett. Any discussion? Show of hands. Okay, the next item. Item 15, correspondence and communications. There is nothing to report. Do we have a need for executive session, Mr. Drezek? There is no need. Item 17, adjournment. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
moved.
Motion by Mr. Hamry, second by Ms. Pickett. Meeting is adjourned. Thank you.